Defensively for the Brewers.
With Doug Russell.
It does mean something.
Nick Bruzowitz.
Beat him up in private.
And Dave Gasper.
Let's stay up all night long.
From Monroe Street to Lombardi Avenue.
There is your dagger.
This is your daily deep dive into the teams we love and the games we watch.
Touchdown, Wisconsin!
And there it is. The Brewers will punch a ticket to the postseason.
Now here's Doug Russell.
And it is the Thursday edition, October 16th, 2025. D.N.D, Doug, Nick, Dave. Huge, pivotal. Gotta have it. Game 3 tonight for the Brewers in Los Angeles. Last night, I don't know if you're dialed in. I know you boys are dialed in to what's going on in the American League Championship Series, but, you know, the Road Warriors continued with the theme of, hey, home field advantage don't mean squat, because the Toronto Blue Jays, who couldn't do squat at Rogers Center, they go into T-Mobile Park, and they brought their hitting shows. 13-4, the score, the Blue Jays defeating the Mariners, which leads to the question, does last night's game give you hope for the Brewers?
Oh, you know it does, Dougie. You know it gives me hope because I'm always looking to be positive. I'm always looking to have that patented positivity about this team, and I have hope that these guys can figure it out. So when you see the Blue Jays with their backs against the wall, going out on the road and putting a thumping on the Seattle Mariners, it definitely does give you hope, because you know that the Brewers are in the exact same spot that they're in, and you know you're facing a really good pitcher out there on the mound. So to be able to put up those kinds of offensive numbers, 5 home runs in that game, 13 runs, it definitely does give me hope. I think the Brewers are pretty close. They're right there. I mean, you just got some elite pitching performances in games 1 and 2 from the Dodgers. So yesterday absolutely gives me hope. I know Nick's hope over there on the Brewers is a little bit, you know, he's not quite as generally positive on the Brewers, at least not as much. But
how do you describe your fandom? And air quotes. If you're on the stream, you can see it. Air quotes.
Yeah,
love the air quotes, because you grew up in Ripon. Your girlfriend, your girlfriend is a Brewers fan, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
I have seen you wear Brewers gear.
That's right.
So what would you describe your level of interest, enthusiasm, fandom, however you want to describe it? How do you describe how you feel right now, having your team been vanquished by the team that is currently in the National League Championship Series?
When it comes to the Brewers, I'm typically like a neutral, leaning positive fan of the team. Like, I got nothing against them. I've always grown up around Brewers fans. I respect Brewers fans. I've been on the record saying there are a few things that I love and appreciate as much as a strong fandom, whether it's for or against me. I think that's really unique in this world, that we can all, regardless of our backgrounds, root for one unique thing, which is an individual team. But as it stands now, it's a lot harder to root for the Brewers, having had them beat my squad, the Chicago Cubs. Talking about last night and hope. Yeah, it has to inspire hope. I'll be on the record right now saying I don't think the Brewers are going to hit 5 home runs. I don't know if they'll put up 13 runs, but it's certainly possible to go into a hostile area, flip the crowd quickly, and build off of that. And that's exactly what Toronto did. Toronto dug from underneath yesterday too. I mean, the Mariners went up early with a solo shot or a 2-run shot, I believe, in the first inning by
2 runs.
So you had to recover quickly, and that's what they did.
And one of the things that we've also seen throughout the course of this championship series, and maybe the postseason overall, is that it doesn't matter who scores first. Now, the one thing that I'll challenge Dave on when he said the Brewers are right there, they were right there in game 1.
Yeah,
they were not there
in not quite as much. I mean, it's been a rough go, but it was also a rough go for Toronto in both of those first 2 games out there. So I think for them to be able to get, I think they have the ability to get something going. Yeah, they're right there in game 1, but it's just so tough for this team to find themselves in this spot and try and dig their way out of it. But we heard Pat Murphy talk about it a little bit yesterday, and his son believe that they can bounce back. We'll hear that coming up in a little bit as well. But they've bounced back quite a lot throughout the season. They've been counted out before.
Yep.
And if you're able to win this game 3 here tonight, you put the pressure basically kind of right back on the Dodgers.
To a certain extent, yes. I don't think that the Dodgers are a team that lacks confidence, even though they kind of played with their food a little bit throughout the course of the regular season, because they knew that once the postseason rolled around, they just needed to get their guys healthy. And that's what they did. They set up their pitching, and right now they're rolling. They rolled past Philadelphia. They rolled past Milwaukee in the first couple of games of this series as well. So a lot to get to over the course of the next 4 hours. Couple of housekeeping items. I spoke with Wayne Larrivee about 20 minutes ago, the esteemed Hall of Fame voice of the Packers. He is going to join us on Wednesdays for the rest of the course of the regular season. So we're looking forward to that. Matt LePay, the Hall of Fame voice of the Wisconsin Badgers, is going to be joining us tomorrow on the program. So we definitely look forward to that. I can announce, and I told you boys off the air right before the show began, but this is important to our Madison audience. The J&K Security Solutions basketball post-game show is back for another year.
Son of a gun.
So you guys are hired for another year of basketball coverage on 1310 WID.
Was awesome.
There you go. And
Yeah.
you guys are going to have a good season, I think, to talk about with Greg Gard's team. They have been, I know they're ranked, preseason rankings during the season rankings don't mean much more than the preseason rankings, but the preseason rankings are completely useless. Still, it just kind of shows what the rest of the country feels about your program. And right now, with the state of the football program, which we will certainly get to, I think all eyes are going to be on the basketball program, because this is a good team, and you guys are going to be talking about it all season long after games. Again, on the J&K Security Solutions basketball postgame show, we're thrilled to have
Right
them back
now,
as the
I'm
title
hungry
sponsor.
for some Firehouse and some pizza.
Yeah.
I grabbed that last year. I think that was a win in the Big Ten tournament for what it's worth, but
Yeah.
Firehouse and pizza.
But yeah, no, it's exciting to be back on that. And this is such a good team. Greg Gard just always is able to put together a really strong group. The transfer portal, he has adapted to it. He has adapted the offense to survive and work well in the modern college basketball world. So, I'm excited. And it's also really cool to see the AP Top 25 poll come out and actually see Wisconsin in it.
Mhm.
That's just really nice to see, because we haven't seen that in football in a little bit of time.
And you're not gonna. CBSSports.com came out with the top, I think, 150 players of the midseason of the 2025 NFL or college football season. It should not surprise you that there are exactly 0 Wisconsin Badgers on the list.
Any Gophers?
That's a good
a question
question.
we have to ask ourselves.
I can. I will check.
It shouldn't surprise you.
There's
You look at this
Ophers,
group this year, 2-4. Not any particular strong performances. The playmakers themselves, the guys that you'd think would be on that list, would either be, a pass catcher, a running back, or, a pass rusher, and they haven't excelled in any of those areas. So unfortunate that they are not in a position to call themselves a team that hosts a top 150 player in the country. I'd wonder the last time they had one on that list, even if it was last year or the year before.
Hunter Wohler might have been on that list.
Right. That
Maybe.
And that's the question. It was Hunter Wohler. And I guess it could have done a better job of trying to figure what national pundits thought of players on the Badgers, but I'm not so sure that he wasn't just better compared to the rest, and we then circled him as our star player just because the rest of the team was not excelling. But nonetheless, this year has been a rough one to this point. I know that there are opportunities ahead, but I think that this would be a surprise. I think the rest of the season outside of Minnesota, I think people would be surprised if the Badgers won.
There's one player on the Minnesota Golden Gophers that is in the hot top 150.
Coy Perrick?
No. Anthony Smith at 132, defensive tackle. Big explosive. This is what they write about him. Big explosive defensive tackle who often plays out of position in Minnesota's defense. Smith is mostly feasted on lesser competition, but shows explosiveness and a strong long arm pass rush, consistently getting home.
Well, there we go.
Congrats.
Badgers could use a guy like
So
that.
that's Anthony Smith at 132.
Great.
Anthony Smith. Yeah. It kind of sounds like at the end of the Key and Peele skit, Dan Smith, BYU, just kind of a most like generic name that you could have thrown into the end of that mix.
The top player in the country. Any guesses?
I'm going to go
Dante
with
Moore.
Nope.
Ty Simpson.
Nope. Reuben Bain Jr.
Oh,
For Miami, Hurricane Bane has been the best player in the country this season, dominating the line of scrimmage in both phases and embarrassing his opponents weekly with a relentless blend of speed and power. He plays with nonstop motor and is a major disruptive force for the Hurricanes. Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson is at number 2.
it was close.
USC wide receiver Mekhi Lemon, he is at number 3. Ahmad Hardy from Missouri is at number 4. Mansour Lane from LSU, cornerback at 5. Jordan Tyson from Arizona State is at number 6. Carson Beck, Miami quarterback, at number 7. Jeremiah Smith, who the Badgers will see this weekend. He's at number 8. Sawyer Robertson, Baylor quarterback, and then Fernando Mendoza, Indiana's quarterback, rounding out the top 10.
Okay, how about over under 120 yards for Jeremiah Smith this weekend?
He's so good. He creates separation, and he's got great hands. He's a special type. Another one. I mean, Ohio State just churns these guys out.
Yeah. They are wide receiver
they
really show up at their doorsteps as 5 stars, but yes. Yeah.
It does help when you continuously churn out the NFL caliber star players that they have.
My question is, it's almost chicken or the egg. You know what I mean? Ultimately, do the best players in the country just want to go to Ohio State? So in turn, they have the NFL players no matter what. Or are they really good players and they get that much better at Ohio State and then become NFL players?
I think
there's questions.
I don't know that it's a chicken or the egg thing. I think it's probably both, because you look at the coaching staff. I mean, their defensive coordinator is a former NFL head coach, for crying out loud. I mean, they invest in their coaching staff.
Not a good coach, but
still, he was an NFL. Listen, still, he was an NFL head coach. He was a crappy NFL head coach, but he also won a couple of rings as an assistant coach in the NFL with the Patriots.
He's also a NASA scientist.
Yeah, but some people are better suited for that assistant coach role. You know, some are better for the head coach type of role, and sometimes that's just kind of what you gotta figure out. You take that opportunity, like Ben Johnson, for example. Everyone's like, "Oh man, he's such a great coordinator. How is he as a head coach?" Well, you got to, give him the chance to find out. He may be a terrible head coach, and then he just goes back to being an offensive coordinator for the next, 20 years. That's very much possibility.
The list of examples of that is endless. I mean, Norv Turner, one of the great offensive minds in football history, lousy head coach, great offensive coordinator. If there was a Hall of Fame for assistant coaches in the NFL, Norv Turner would be a first balloter. He'd lead the list. But as a head coach, not a lot of success. Wade Phillips is another one. Not a lot of success as a head coach. Incredible defensive coordinator, though.
Yeah.
So you never know until they get the chance to do it, right?
Right.
And maybe Matt Patricia is one of those guys who is a better coordinator than he was a head coach. Yes, you're right, Nick. He was a lousy NFL head coach. But still though, an NFL head coach.
You know who was also a lousy NFL head coach? Nick Saban.
Yeah.
So I think he turned out to be okay. Just some are also better in the college game than they are the pro game.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah. Urban, very lousy NFL head coach.
Historically terrible.
Lousy NFL head coach.
I would say this.
Kicking the kicker.
I'm going to call the timeout on the Nick Saban was a lousy NFL head coach. I mean, he was 2 games under 500 in his 2 seasons.
He only lasted 2 seasons.
Well, this is because he got hired to Alabama.
Yeah.
And Miami was not, the Dolphins were not. I mean, they did not put the resources around him and did not, he wanted Breeze as a free agent. They said no. Breeze ends up being a Hall of Famer in New Orleans. But I get your point, guys. I mean, it's certainly not a negative to have NFL experience, certainly head coaching NFL experience as an assistant on your staff. So Ryan Day is spoiled in that sense. Talking about NFL coaches that didn't pan out as head coaches. Matt Nagy, I saw him at the top of the list for the Titans to be their head coach moving forward.
No, but why would anyone want that job?
But see, the thing about Matt Nagy is at one point he was the NFL coach of the year.
That's right. Yeah, with Trubisky, and they did a great job.
Kevin Stefanski's been NFL coach of the year twice.
I think he's a good coach.
I think he's a good coach too.
In a bad organization.
But at one point, exactly. That's a good point, because at one point the Cleveland Browns had lost, I think, 16 out of their last 20 games going into the game that they beat the Packers in. So it was one of the questions that I had on Eye of the Enemy is, so talk me through this Kevin Stefanski thing, 2-time NFL coach of the year, but he, as the head coach on his record, still has 16 losses out of their last 20 games. And there have been some talented players like Myles Garrett, one of the most talented, future Hall of Fame player that's on his team. I mean, the Browns have had some good players. but they just haven't had a good team. Those are wildly different things.
Well, I mean, they had a really good quarterback in Baker Mayfield, and he tries to play through a shoulder injury one year, and shockingly, he doesn't play as well with a shoulder injury, and they're like, get out of town!
And now
we don't want you!
And now Baker Mayfield is one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL in Tampa Bay.
And they are stuck with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, when they're still trying. Listen, Deshaun Watson's still there. He's just hurt. So
Yeah, you have Deshaun.
The Cleveland Browns, I'm not saying that he's been, that's the worst contract in NFL history.
Oh, 100%. Far and away.
So then they had that glut of quarterbacks. At one point, they had 6 quarterbacks in their building. 6!
Yeah.
So they traded Flacco. We'll see Flacco tonight. By the way, I don't think Dave got the black and gold memo today.
What's going on here? I mean,
sorry, I got the Brewers memo today.
I'm gonna use this as Doug is rooting for the Steelers tonight, even though it's just Oshkosh that he's wearing. But the colors represent the brand tonight.
Sure.
So
and you're repping Oshkosh.
Well, it's better than rooting for the Titans.
That.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's right.
No, nothing wrong with the Oshkosh Titans. I'm talking the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, those
Titans,
merry band of losers.
Yeah.
Hey, man, they're NFL athletes. Come on.
That's true.
They're all very
My friend
successful.
covers them, so.
They just do poorly in the win-loss column, and they'll be facing off with the head coach.
But they live in a great city, though.
Nashville's awesome.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And I got TJ Watt on today, so, it's.
There we go.
I'm repping both.
Pride of Pewaukee.
Badgers and
yeah. I mean, you got a lot of Badgers to choose from on that Steelers roster, though.
That's right.
Yeah, Nick
right.
Herbig.
Every week I do the
Keanu
Badgers in the
Benton.
NFL segment, little sounder for the network pregame with Mike Heller. And I have to wait. I can't do it until tonight's game is over because I got to know what these guys do. I got 4 different Badgers in this game, so let's see what happens.
There you go.
Yeah. Does that add to your Steelers fandom a little bit, Nick? Just all the Wisconsin Badgers that are on that team?
I think so. I mean, it has to. It adds to my Badgers fandom. I mean, I get to watch these guys through college and through the NFL every week. I don't miss a game.
I don't know what the deal is with the football players associated with the state of Wisconsin and the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it goes back. I mean, Mike Webster was a Wisconsin Badger, Hall of Famer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rocky Blyer from Appleton. One of the great stories. I mean, movies were made about his life and, his service in Vietnam and coming back, having half of his foot blown off and then winning 4 Super Bowls with the Steelers after that happened. I mean, it's just one guy after another. 2 of the 3 Watt brothers played for the Steelers. One still does. It's just one guy after another.
Russell Wilson last year.
Sure.
Scott Nelson had some time. Loudermilk, Keanu Benton, Nick Herbig are all still on the team currently. It's what happens. Jake Ferguson, let's hope down the road. He's a Steeler. Like these are guys.
Jonathan Taylor, just make him a Steeler down the road.
That would be great.
JJ Watt coming out of retirement, completing the Watt trifecta in the Steel City.
When he was a free agent, when he left Texas, when he left the Texans, and he signs with the Cardinals, I think there was a lot of hope that he'd be a Packer. And additionally, I was hoping at the time he would have joined both his brothers, Derek and TJ, in Pittsburgh. It'd be all 3 of them. But JJ's been on the call for like 4 of the games this year.
Yeah, he's an honorary Steeler.
I'm like, it's really interesting that they keep putting him on that game. You'd think that it'd be like almost the opposite. Like, hey, let's try and avoid having JJ doing his brother's games.
Oh, I think they did. I think CBS leans into it.
No, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I would too.
Sense.
Yeah,
I would
as
too.
long as he's not like, that was a holding, that was a flag. What they're holding TJ. You know what I mean?
Right.
Come on,
because
nasty. That's a dirty hit.
Because they usually do. And of course, by the way, the quarterback in Pittsburgh famously spent a few years here in Wisconsin too. So,
good guy. I was thinking next week I'm going to roll out all of the jerseys. It'll start with Rodgers in the 12 in the Green Bay, and then I'll wear my number 8 Jets jersey I got, and then I'll wear my number 8 Steelers Aaron Rodgers jersey. I got all 3 now. Thanks to Alex in Cambria. I believe it was Alex, and I hope I'm not misquoting. But one of those on our talking text line, I'm almost certain it's Alex in Cambria, sent me an Aaron Rodgers jersey in the mail.
Oh, that was nice.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got the number 12. He wore it to the NFC title game in 2010. I'm like, dude, seriously, you're sending this to me? And he's like, I don't want it anymore. So
okay.
I had to mail it here, of course. Safety
all right.
precautions.
The NicoleLaw.com talk and text line is open to you, as always, 877-794-1973. When we come back, Pat Murphy did it again yesterday. We're not going to play the, I think, 13 and a half minutes that he spent in Los Angeles asking every Dodgers beat reporter that was in the room to stand up and introduce themselves. But we'll play the rest of his comments that are germane to tonight's game as the Brewers, it's as close to a must win as you're ever going to get, except for if they're down into an elimination game, which they aren't there yet, but one more loss and they are right there. So it is a critical game. And if anyone needs any excuse slips for their boss to get out of work early to go watch the game, just let me know.
Yeah, we'll write them up for you.
I will write them up for you.
Yeah, we'll start working on that during the commercial break.
So you can just send them on the NicoleLaw.com talk and text line. I'll just send a number that I can, just kind of fill it out.
We can scribble out. It'll look like a doctor's signature, just nothing but scribbles.
Why is this radio station saying that you have the day off? I don't know. They said that they were the authorities on this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That tracks.
Good enough for me.
That tracks. It's the D.N.D show, and we have the ability, by the powers vested in me by the Federal Communications Commission, we have the ability
in the state of Wisconsin.
And the state of Wisconsin, I now pronounce you off for the day to watch the Brewers take on the Dodgers in Game 3 of the National League Championship Series. Pat Murphy's coming up straight ahead. Stay with us on the game. It's D.N.D.
See them look in my eyes. You take all of this from me, and I'm still gonna survive. You get truth from me.
Live from the all-new Iron Jock Studios, built by Rima Remodel, this is No BS with Billy and Sarya.
I've waited for this. I'm so excited.
On the game.
Fox on Tech.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman in D.C. making the case that artificial intelligence is already making Americans more productive and that it's essential to democratize it by getting the technology in as many hands as possible. To do that, Altman joined Federal Reserve Vice Chair for Supervision Michelle Bowman to talk about the impact of AI on banks and businesses. Altman making the argument that it's not all doom and gloom, but rather that AI will create new jobs that we don't even understand yet.
There are cases where entire classes of jobs will go away. There are entirely new classes of jobs that will come. And largely, I think this will look somewhat like most of history in that the tools people have to use their jobs will let them do more.
OpenAI telling Fox Business they will be opening an office called The Workshop next year in D.C., their first office there. The goal is to expose lawmakers and government teams to artificial intelligence. With Fox on Tech, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
Fox on Tech.
What did that WhatsApp caller want? Maybe they'll start leaving you a voicemail. WhatsApp is gaining some popularity in the U.S. It is a messaging app by Meta that has a lot of fans overseas, mainly because it relies on data and not cellular minutes, which is a cost saver for folks in Europe, Asia, and Africa. But one thing you couldn't do in WhatsApp is leave a voicemail, but that is expected to change soon. Voice messages in WhatsApp aren't new. Users are able to record them and send them within chats. Technoblog reports that in a WhatsApp beta update for Android phones, if a call goes unanswered, the user will now get a button to record a voice message within the phone call. No need to leave the calling environment and head into the chat with that particular contact. The big question for U.S. users, however, is will they check their WhatsApp voicemail in addition to their other messages? With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1978.
In June of 78, Darkness on the Edge of Town is released, Bruce Springsteen's follow-up to his breakthrough album, Born to Run. The album charts at number 5.
In the darkness on the edge of town. In the darkness on the edge of town.
Boston-based band The Cars released their debut album. It goes to number 18. It features the singles Just What I Needed and My Best Friend's Girl.
She's my best friend's girl. But she used to be mine.
In July of 78, the Rolling Stones released Some Girls in the U.S. The album and the single Miss You both hit number 1. In August of 78, Boston released their sophomore album, Don't Look Back. The album goes to number 1 in the U.S., selling 4 million copies in its first month.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1978. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1973.
Boston band Aerosmith released their debut album. It fares poorly. It would be re-released in 76 and yield a top 10 hit, Dream On.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, right on that.
Elvis Presley's live TV special, Aloha from Hawaii, is watched by more than 1 billion people worldwide and introduces the world to the rhinestone white jumpsuit. In February of 73, Alice Cooper has a number 1 album with Billion Dollar Babies, along with 3 top 40 singles. Elton John also has a number 1 album and his first number 1 single with Crocodile Rock. Paul McCartney and Wings have a number 1 single with My Love, and the Stooges signed to Columbia Records and released their final album, Raw Power, produced by David Bowie. In March, Pink Floyd releases the now legendary Dark Side of the Moon. It goes to number 1 and becomes one of the best-selling albums of all time.
And everything under the sun is you. And the sun is a great spot on you.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1973. Coming up.
Join us Saturday. The Badgers and Buckeyes square off in Madison. Our coverage begins at 12:30.
Now we'll get rolling.
Wisconsin football.
Mike Heller's pregame show starts at 12:30. Kickoff at 2:30 on 95.7 Big FM.
Which version is this?
This is the Isley Brothers version.
Why would you do this song and not have it be the Beatles version?
Oh, sorry, because I just want to pick the first one here. Hold on a second.
I mean, if you have a choice of the Beatles or anybody else, and you don't choose, there we go. Yeah. Now we're talking.
It's the first one that popped up here. But this is live version?
So much better.
What kind of versions do we have?
I don't know.
We got like 3 of them. I don't know why.
For the Beatles?
Yeah, 3 of the Beatles versions and 2 of the Isley Brothers. Don't know. This one, like the mix is wrong.
Well, this is how they recorded it back in the day. Blame Phil Spector for that.
Hey, you can't hear any of the actual lyrics.
Well, you can hear it in one channel. They separated the channels. Yeah,
seems like poor design.
I didn't do it.
I'm not blaming you, Doug.
Welcome back in, D.N.D. Doug Russell, Nick Bruzewitz, and Dave Gasper. The NicolaLaw.com talking text line is open to you. A couple of questions that we have for you. We've got some folks chiming in on who was a terrible head coach but a good offensive coordinator. Josh McDaniels, he was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne in Nash Vegas. So that's one through line. Also, does last night give you hope as the Blue Jays brought their hitting shoes to T-Mobile Park? I still want to call it Safeco Field. They probably it's like their Miller Park.
Yeah,
so it's T-Mobile Park. Nice stadium.
Oh yeah, beautiful,
lovely. And the Blue Jays now trail 2-1 to the Mariners. The road game, the road team has won all 5 games of the league championship series.
Yeah.
So far in both leagues. And we haven't even talked about Teoscar Hernandez, who is superstitious, or just doesn't want to deal with ghosts, or just didn't want to deal with the specter of, are there any shenanigans going on at the Pfister Hotel in Milwaukee, which has been for years thought of as haunted. Have you ever been? Nick, I'll start with you. Have you ever been to the Pfister Hotel?
I've not, no.
Okay. It's an old hotel, beautiful hotel. Dave, have you been there?
I have not, no.
Okay. So I have been to the Pfister. Actually, had my first date with my wife.
Oh, nice.
At the Pfister. And then a year later, went back and got engaged at the Pfister
Aw,
Hotel.
No
how
way.
sweet and
At
romantic.
the blue, so at the top of the tower is the bar lounge, blue, BLU. And they have oftentimes like jazz singers come in, and it's just a great, the views are immaculate, 360 degrees, almost 360 degree views. Just a really nice spot. So, Dave, I know that you are new with a new young lady.
Yes.
Blue.
Okay.
Blue. Take
Blue.
her there. BLU,
Okay.
top of the Pfister.
All right.
We have a Red here in Madison.
Oh, there you go.
A restaurant called Red, and it's very nice.
Okay. It's not a restaurant. It's a bar. It's a bar. It's a lounge.
Okay.
Wow.
So
I mean, it's
for some
similar.
fancy, some
fancy
drinks.
wine drinking,
Yep,
fancy.
that's what I'm saying. For a good date night in Milwaukee, Blue. I'm telling you, you're welcome.
All right.
Nevertheless, it is at the Pfister Hotel. Teoscar Hernandez did not want to stay at the Pfister Hotel. Most teams in the National League, when they come to Milwaukee, stay at the Pfister Hotel. That's been the way that it's been for years and years and years and years and years. And there's this thought, because it's an old hotel, sometimes there are thoughts that there are ghosts in said hotel. Now, I don't know.
Paranormal activity.
Everybody's got a different belief system, and I respect everyone's belief system. If you believe in ghosts, I respect that. If you don't believe in ghosts, I respect that. If you believe in the Zodiac, I'll look at you funny, but still, I kind of will say that I respect. If you believe in astronomy, I'll say that I respect that, but I'll be probably lying to you.
Astronomy or astrology?
Astrology.
Jesus.
I was going to say astronomy is a
I mean, I'll be damned. You don't think there's stars
I
and stuff
do.
up there?
Rewind the tape on that. Astrology, my goodness gracious.
It's okay, man.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah. You don't believe in the planet Uranus.
I do.
No.
I do believe in all of the planets, including that one, and including the one that we're on. And it is not flat. It is famously round.
Is Pluto a planet?
See, now when I was a kid, Pluto was a planet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to still say that Pluto, in my mind and in my heart, is still a planet, even though I know that it is like Soldier Field lost its classification.
Is the Earth flat?
Is the Earth flat? No, the Earth is round.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Was the moon landing real?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we're laying out our baseline. Of
I don't
our understanding
now
of
that
what
we've
Doug
got
believes.
Yes. Well, I mean, listen. I'm more or less an open book. The only thing that I will not talk about on the air is politics, other than bashing both sides.
Yes.
Because I think they're all useless. That having been said, I don't believe in astrology. I do believe in astronomy. If you're going to talk to me about astrology, I'm going to roll my eyes, at least in my own mind. And other than that, I respect whatever your worldview is. I respect whatever your belief system is. And so if you believe in ghosts, like apparently Teoscar Hernandez does, and you believe that the Pfister is haunted, as many do, he wanted to not be in that situation.
Oh yeah, and he says, like, I don't believe in ghosts, but my wife does, and she wanted to leave, so we decided to go someplace. I'm like, oh,
Sure.
okay, blame it on the wife doesn't want to be there. You totally heard the same things, and you were just as freaked out, and you wanted to move. So he probably just went to Mookie Betts's Airbnb. They probably got an extra bedroom over there, and then they just hung out there because Mookie does not stay at the Pfister when the Dodgers come to town. Like, he has already declared, it's like, I believe in ghosts. That place is haunted. I ain't staying there. I'm going someplace else. I'm getting an Airbnb. I'm getting paid $300 some million. I can afford it.
Yes, he can. And again, if that's what your belief system is, I'm cool with that. By the way, and you will learn this, and Nick maybe already has learned this because he just celebrated his 3-year anniversary with his girlfriend. Right. At some point, your significant other, long-term girlfriend, fiance, spouse, whichever, they will give you permission to blame them for things if you don't want to take the hit yourself. And that when that day happens, it's a beautiful thing. You know what? You tell your boss that I don't want to do this. And when they start taking those hits for you, blame it on me. That's when that's when you know you're good. So,
it's a real one.
Nick, how superstitious are you?
I'm not. But I do, like, in retrospect, like in hindsight, think I've occasionally jinx some things, like where, in the past I've shaved before a game after having not shaved for 2 weeks and been like, oh, I just shaved off the good luck there and they lost because of that. But like, do I wholeheartedly believe it? No, I just, well, what did I do? Because I like to try and be a part of the action.
Did I
what
step
did
on
I
a
do
crack?
to change things?
But there is no group of human beings, I think, that are more superstitious than baseball players. Because of that same thing.
You have to imagine.
Because you mentioned a couple things. Shave before a game. Some of them wear the same socks if you're on a winning streak. They don't step on the lines if you're crossing the lines back into and out of the field of play. Things like that. And it's kind of, I think some of it is silly, but then again, I don't want to break a mirror.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's 7 years of bad luck, but it might be.
Yeah. I'm not walking under a ladder.
Well, you can't fit under a ladder.
That's very fair.
Come
but
on.
that's another one of those bad luck things. Break
a really tall ladder, he definitely could do it.
You're totally right. I could duck underneath, but yeah, any of those bad luck things. But I just don't want to mess with it. It's like, that could be something, but either way, I'm leaving. I'm not sticking around to investigate. I don't really want to know if there's some of that weird stuff going on. It's like, I am just going to get out of here. I have seen one too many horror movies, which is really probably only like one. And that was still one too many. Like, not a huge fan of that. I'm like, I'm just going to completely avoid all of that. Thank you. Don't need it.
Only Phil writes on the NickLayLaw.com talking text line. Great subject, boys. What about aliens? What about Bigfoot? What about ghosts?
Ooh. Aliens, I believe,
yes.
are real.
Aliens, I believe, are real.
Yes.
What about Bigfoot?
No, I'm right here. You don't got to talk about me like this.
I think there are several Sasquatches that roam somewhere. I think that there aren't many of them.
A herd of them,
sure, maybe. What about ghosts?
I believe.
I think I do.
I believe that, there's some paranormal type of it, like activity, like haunting type stuff that can be weird. I mean, I think for sure, like you talk about Gettysburg, like that place is definitely haunted. Like you can see like apparitions and like ghosts and stuff like walking around at the battlefield at Gettysburg. So it's like, if that can happen there, I'm pretty sure it can happen other places.
Now, there have been reports over the years of the knowledge that the belief of the Pfister Hotel being haunted in downtown Milwaukee, that some teammates of players over the years have messed with some of the other teammates over the years and have snuck into rooms and stuck speakers in places that are hidden. And in the middle of the night, ooh, Mookie. So that has happened, but that's been.
You will take up twice at third and get thrown out at home.
You will sometimes see that. Usually not during the postseason. Usually not during a high leverage situation. But listen, it is a long season, and baseball players used to be a lot more colorful than they are now. But back in the day, there would be like Bill Lee, whose nickname was Spaceman, or the late Jay Johnstone, who wrote 2 or 3 books about hijinks in the major leagues in the 70s and 80s. Just go back and read some of their stuff. And these guys were colorful and they were pranksters. And they would do something like that. They would hide a speaker underneath somebody's bed in the Pfister Hotel, for example. And in the middle, like Jay Johnstone played for the Dodgers and Tommy Lasorda was his manager. Tommy.
You will ground into a double play, but it'll go 404 feet.
I think that was during the All-Star game because the Dodgers didn't play at County Stadium very much, but Tommy Lasorda was around. Anyway, I'm conflating a little bit of some of that, but
mixing stories.
Reggie Jackson got that treatment when he was playing for the Yankees at the Pfister Hotel, for example. So
yeah, you got to play those kinds of pranks. I mean, didn't they used to also have like pranks too, where they would go in, they would like find a rookie, steal all the clothes, like take his whole suitcase, and all they would leave for him was like a dress that he would have to wear to the ballpark or something.
Simpler times.
Yeah, so much simpler times. Now you can't do that.
Simpler times. Marty in Madison writes, I stayed at the Hotel Shawamigan up in Ashland for work. I don't believe in ghosts, but I did for the 2 nights I was up there. Yikes.
You heard some things. You saw some things. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
No thanks.
All it takes is those kinds of experiences to make you kind of believe it's like, oh no, that is something weird. That is something you cannot explain at all. So I went to a haunted place once, the St. Augustine Lighthouse in Florida. We were down there on vacation.
Sure.
And like it was on like ghost hunters and like whatnot, and like that is a haunted lighthouse. And it was fantastic to go there and walk up the stairs.
Did it make you believe in ghosts?
I mean, I was there during the day, so there wasn't as much of the, haunted kind of activity, like still the tours, everyone going up. So like you couldn't like hear that kind of stuff because there's still like just regular people just kind of like talking and moving around. But yeah, it was a fun little spot on our vacation.
I have spoken to people who I believe to be 100% sane. And they swear that they've had dead relatives visit them in the middle of the night and it wasn't a dream. And just war and stories that are independent that matched up with all of that. And again, I believe these people to be telling the truth, and I believe them to be of absolute sound mind and body, and they believe in that stuff. So I'm like, okay, there's probably something going on in the universe. And Teoscar Hernandez and Mookie Betts, they have said, you know what? Peace out.
Yep. I'm not going to be part of this. Whatever's going on over there, no thank you. And honestly, I do not blame them in the slightest. But I also do love that the Brewers continue to set up other teams there when they come to town to visit.
Now they can choose. No, those teams can choose wherever they want to stay.
Really?
Yeah. The Brewers don't tell them to go to the hotel. It's the teams that say we're going to this hotel or we're not going to this hotel. And most of the time it's because they've got a long-standing relationship. And it's a business relationship that has been formed over many, many, many years. And they get a good deal with the Fister. And there are certain parameters with the Players Association that you have to stay at top level accommodations.
Yeah.
So it is not, the Brewers don't direct them to go anywhere.
Yeah. But it's the top level hotel in the city. So
yeah, that's why they go there.
Exactly.
But it's also haunted, apparently.
Yeah, but it's just, just genius on the Brewers part. It's like that's the spot we gotta go. Wait, what were those random noises behind me?
Yeah. Michael in Appleton. I don't know if it's Michael. It's M-I. There's no H. So I'm just going to Mikhail. Michael. I'm just going to name Michael.
Michelle.
Perhaps.
Michelle.
Have you guys ever heard of Resurrection Mary?
No.
I haven't, but thanks for not explaining the text at all.
Resurrection Mary. I don't want to Google it, especially not on a company computer.
No.
But is it Bloody Mary? Is it the same thing? My oldest brother scared my older brother, both of them are older than me. One time because he told him, hey, go in the bathroom, say Bloody Mary into the mirror X amount of times. She's gonna pop out and blah, 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 blah. And in the process, my oldest brother hid in the shower.
There we go.
And
that's
scarred.
Now that's a good brother right there,
my
because
brother
he's got to
Alex.
scare the bejesus out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother Kyle scarred my brother Alex.
I love that. Mailman Jeff in Madison says that he's running his ass off on the route today to get done and over to B-Dubs Easttown for the big football feast. Love that. We're
go.
in Madison today, starting at 3:00. Go Brewers. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, that.
Nick, your turn.
Let's go.
There it is.
Thank you for participating, Nick.
I mean, screw it. I'm all for an entertaining series. I mean, they lose tonight, it's over. We already know the end if they lose tonight.
And yes, the football feast is at Buffalo Wild Wings, Easttown in Madison today. Go out and say hello to the boys. All right, we are D.N.D, Doug Russell, Nick Brusewitz, Dave Gasper. This Thursday, October 16th, 2025. Still to come, we will hear from our baseball insider, Hunter Baumgart. He's going to drop by. Who would you least like to see as a manager? Because there are a couple of them that you might see next year that you don't necessarily like. And we'll hit that coming up. Also, saw something online. Cam Newton has a YouTube show that is fascinating. And he goes into what a quarterback actually hears in his helmet based on TikTok that Chase Daniel put out online. And the way that Cam Newton explains it, it's like, oh, that's why we tap into some of these former players as to getting their insights as to what's going on really in between the lines in the National Football League. That's coming up a little bit later on. Joe Bartle will join us, get you some fantasy help, and also Nick's conversation with Badgers cornerback Ricardo Hallman. All that and more. Stay with us. It's D.N.D. on the game.
An invisible man sleeping in your bed. Oh, who you gonna call? I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Fox on Tech.
What did that WhatsApp caller want? Maybe they'll start leaving you a voicemail. WhatsApp is gaining some popularity in the U.S. It is a messaging app by Meta that has a lot of fans overseas, mainly because it relies on data and not cellular minutes, which is a cost saver for folks in Europe, Asia, and Africa. But one thing you couldn't do in WhatsApp is leave a voicemail, but that is expected to change soon. Voice messages in WhatsApp aren't new. Users are able to record them and send them within chats. Technoblog reports that in a WhatsApp beta update for Android phones, if a call goes unanswered, the user will now get a button to record a voice message within the phone call. No need to leave the calling environment and head into the chat with that particular contact. The big question for U.S. users, however, is will they check their WhatsApp voicemail in addition to their other messages? With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1970.
Chicago breaks through with their second album, generating 3 top 10 singles: Color My World, 25 or 624, and Make Me Smile. And Simon & Garfunkel released the album Bridge Over Troubled Water. It would win the Grammy for Album of the Year. The single of the same name would also hit number 1.
Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down.
In February of 1970, Paul McCartney files a petition with the court to dissolve the Beatles partnership. James Taylor leaves Apple Records and releases the album Sweet Baby James on Warner Brothers. He has a number 3 single with Fire and Rain and receives major publicity as a leader in the wave of new, more mellow singer-songwriters of the time.
Let it roll all night long.
The Doors get back to the blues with the album Morrison Hotel, which climbs to number 4 on the album charts. In March, Crosby, Stills, and Nash add Neil Young to their lineup and have a number 1 album with Deja Vu, which includes 3 top 40 singles. And New York hard rockers Mountain released their debut Climbing with the single Mississippi Queen.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1970. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
In February of 77, 60s band leader Manfred Mann has a new band and scores a U.S. number 1 hit with a cover of Bruce Springsteen's song Blinded by the Light. In March, Foreigner released their debut album. It goes to number 4 in the U.S., driven by 2 top 10 singles, Cold as Ice and Feels Like the First Time. Philadelphia Blue-Eyed Soul duo Hall & Oates have their first U.S. number 1 with Rich Girl from their 5th album, Bigger Than the Both of Us. Fleetwood Mac's album Rumors is released. It's their second number 1 album in a row in the U.S., dominating the charts at number 1 for 31 weeks. It spawns 4 top 10 singles, including the number 1, Dreams.
When the rain washes you clean, you know.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Rick Springfield to get some insight on his latest release, Rocket Science.
It's a guitar-based record for sure, and I love big hooks, and not a country record at all. It's a rock and roll record, but it does have some country elements.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from Rick Springfield and all your favorite artists.
It's D.N.D, Doug, Nick, and Dave. Our new flagship of this show, 1070 The Game in Madison, but we're on all over the states of Wisconsin still. Love to hear where you are joining us from. Give your station a shout out. Give yourself a shout out on the nicklaylaw.com talk and text line 877-794-1973. Perhaps you found us on the app. Perhaps you found us on one of the streamers. You can find us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, X if you prefer. You can follow us on YouTube. That's where you can see the show and see why we went into radio in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I don't know. I don't know how you see vocal tones, but if that's how you want to do it that way. I'm never going to concede to the fact that we're unattractive. Okay. As you can keep pushing me that direction, you can see why we picked. No, I think we're all conventionally attractive guys. So it doesn't hold.
Nick, none of us have a third eye in the middle of our forehead.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we just got to admit defeat and,
not admitting defeat on being, I mean, come on, you're calling me ugly. I'm not admitting ugly.
No, Nick, you're a handsome guy.
Thank you. And you guys are as well.
Me the ugly.
That's right. You can't do that.
Nick got a new toy, didn't he?
Those.
Yeah.
I'm deflecting these bullets. I'm Matrix right now as you're trying to shoot these ugly bullets at me. I'm ducking them. I'm doing everything I can.
No, you're a handsome young man. Come on.
Thank you. And I will say the same for you guys.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
That's right.
I don't know about the young part, but
again, there are people older than you, so you're younger than
there
someone.
Famously, there are people that are, believe it or not, older than me.
I can believe it.
My parents are both older than me.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Still to come, next hour, we will have top of the hour sports update with Dave Gasper. Also, we will hear from both Matt LaFleur and Pat Murphy, the Brewers manager, meeting the media yesterday to get everybody set for today's Game 3, pivotal Game 3, crucial Game 3. But I guess I'd say that about the Packers, though, as well. The Packers haven't won a game on the road yet this year, and this is Week 7. So at some point, they're going to have to get that road win. They tied the Cowboys, and then they lost that game that they should have won against the Cleveland Browns. They should have won both of those games, and they didn't. Now, granted, they played 3 home games, and this will be their 3rd road game of the season, but 3-1-1 on the season. Arizona is a team that I think is talented, but they've been besieged by bad luck and some stupid plays, but they still have a positive plus point differential. Only by 3, but they've lost their last 4 games in a row by a combined 9 points. So they're not a bad football team. They just happen to be maybe a dumb team and maybe an unlucky team. So we'll hit that coming up in hour number 2 of the program. Matt LaFleur is scheduled to meet the media in just a couple minutes. We will have a slight tape delay on that, but we'll bring it to you virtually live, if you will. But usually it's Thursday and Friday pressers are only a couple of minutes. Yesterday's wasn't very long either. So we're only talking about, should we set an over-under on this at some point?
We should.
Think about that during the break.
Message from Only Phil on the nicklaylaw.com talking text line. Nick, I've seen your pictures. You're not ugly. Just your baseball team is. Okay. Well,
there you go, Phil. All right.
I don't know what pictures, but I am hoping it's.
Was that the one of you
Instagram?
doing the Wakanda Forever pose in the mirror?
It's possible.
Or at the gym?
That one just brings me sadness now because this industry has sucked the gym time out of my life.
Hour number 2 coming up straight ahead. It's Doug, Nick, and Dave. We call ourselves D&D on the game.
iHeartRadio.
Here are the top Aretha Franklin songs that you've thumbed up.
Number 3.
You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman.
Number 2.
Freeway of Love.
Number 1.
Respect. Hear more from Aretha Franklin and similar artists now.
Search for Aretha Franklin on iHeartRadio.
All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's happening, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. We'll start off in 1914. Babe Ruth makes his MLB debut, pitching a 4-3 Boston Red Sox win over the Cleveland Naps at Fenway Park. This week in 1934, Carl Hubble strikes out Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin in succession. But the American League comes back to win the All-Star Game 9-7 at the Polo Grounds. Staying in baseball, this week in 1955, St. Louis's Stan Musial hit Frank Sullivan's first pitch of the 12th inning for a home run to give the National League All-Star team a 6-5 victory over the American League at Milwaukee's County Stadium. The American League had led 5-0 after 6 innings. This week in 1972, Robert Irsay buys the stock of the LA Rams for $19 million and swaps the franchise for the Baltimore Colts. The players and coaches are not affected. This week in 1999, Team USA wins the Women's World Cup over China in sudden death. The Americans win 5-4 in penalty kicks, with defender Brandi Chastain kicking the game winner. And this week in 2010, Brian McCann's 3-run double in the 7th inning provided the National League all the offense it needed to capture its first Midsummer Classic since 1996 with a 3-1 victory.
And that's just some of what happened this week in sports history. The Weekend Sports Time Capsule on iHeartRadio. Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1967.
Try to set the night on fire.
In January of 1967, Los Angeles band The Doors released their debut album, which eventually goes to number 2, and features the single Light My Fire, which goes to number 1 in July. The Rolling Stones released Ruby Tuesday, an ode to a groupie written by Keith Richards. The song takes them to number 1 in the U.S. in March. And San Francisco band The Jefferson Airplane released the surrealistic Pillow album, scoring 2 top 10 hits with White Rabbit and Somebody to Love.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love.
In March of 67, Buffalo Springfield re-releases their debut album to include the hit single For What It's Worth. In April of 67, Give Me Some Lovin' by the Spencer Davis Group goes to number 7 in the U.S., with vocals by 17-year-old Steve Winwood. And in May, Elvis Presley marries his 21-year-old girlfriend Priscilla in Las Vegas. In May, Mitch Ryder hits number 4 with Devil with a Blue Dress, Good Golly Miss Molly. And the Jimi Hendrix Experience released their debut in the UK. In July, they toured the U.S. as the opening act for the Monkees in support of the U.S. album release.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1967. Coming up.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Stevie Wonder songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, Part-Time Lover.
Pass me by, don't even speak. I know the word is free when part-time lovers.
Number 2, Isn't She Lovely?
Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Less than 1 minute. Oh.
Number 1, Superstition.
Very superstitious. Let us start to fall. 13-month-old baby broke the looking glass.
Hear more from Stevie Wonder and similar artists now. Search for Stevie Wonder on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
The Packers play here.
Does it in style.
WRNW FM Milwaukee, 97.3 The Game. There is no BS with Screamin' Sicilian Premium Craft Frozen Pizza. Find it in your local grocer's freezer and taste what all the screaming is about.
He's very knowledgeable, very intelligent guy, very personable guy.
Here's Dave Gasper.
Well,
The only baseball game yesterday was the Blue Jays and the Mariners in Game 3 of the ALCS. The Blue Jays were down 2-0 coming into it, but they're feeling much better today. Dan Schulman on the call there for the Blue Jays. And 13-4 is the final score. They just put a beating on the Seattle Mariners.
Needed to. I think that is going to give them a lot of confidence. And I think the Brewers just need to have a breakout game. When you go up against Dodgers pitching, I mean, it's so formidable. And we've seen that the last couple of nights. I mean, you got Cy Young Award winners in there. We talked about Blake Snell is putting himself in a position to be a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's quite there yet, but 2 Cy Young Award winners. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's significant. That it's going to be. He's in consideration. We'll put it that way. Yamamoto was spectacular in the complete game shutout. Glasnow. It's Glasnow going tonight, right?
Glasnow tonight, yep.
Do we know who the Brewers pitcher is yet?
TBD officially, but Jose Quintana, it seems like we'll get some pitching in this game at some point. So whether it's starting or whether it's with an opener, we shall see. But also, speaking of Cy Youngs, Max Scherzer will pitch tonight for the Blue Jays.
Okay.
There you go.
Game
and they go
4.
back-to-back Cy Young winners, right? I mean, Shane Bieber yesterday and now Max Scherzer today. Maybe not at the height of their games, respectively. Bieber missed all of last season and most of this season.
I was going to say he missed most of 2 years, but
Tommy John and trying to come back from that. Scherzer, he's in his 40s. He's kind of on the back nine of his career.
He's putting out on 18.
He's putting out on 18.
Listen, no shade at all.
Oh yeah, it's been a fantastic career.
It's he's going to wind up in Cooperstown. Anybody who winds up in Cooperstown has zero to apologize for at the end of their careers. And I think that he's just trying to grab that brass ring one final time.
Yeah,
right.
I wouldn't necessarily call it ring hunting, but he probably felt like he had a pretty good opportunity to win a ring. And the opportunity's still there with Toronto. But, I mean, Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw is not pitching in the championship series, but he's going to wind up, obviously, in Cooperstown. I don't know how much longer Scherzer wants to go, but I remember, who is it? Years ago, the pitching matchup was supposed to be Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
And instead, Vin Scully
versus Kershaw.
Yeah, it was Scherzer versus Kershaw. And Vin Scully's like, well, we thought we were going to get a Hall of Famer against a Hall of Famer. Instead, we've got 2 rookies, 2 complete unknowns. And it was Scherzer and Kershaw.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And you compare their careers, they're both 2-time World Series champs. Scherzer does it a little bit unconventionally, winning 1 2 years ago with the Rangers. But gosh, if I had to pick between Kershaw and Scherzer, it'd be really hard. It'd be really hard. Scherzer's a better postseason pitcher. I think more prolific in the regular season.
I'm going Kershaw. No. Scherzer's a Hall of Famer. I mean, I'm not dissing the guy in any way, shape, or form. But if I have to pick between one of the 2 of them in their prime, I'm going Kershaw.
Yeah, I might go with Scherzer, but that's also a little bit of the bias because Scherzer once upon a time was a lacrosse logger. Back in the Northwoods League, back in those days. So
very nice.
Yeah. So Max Scherzer, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. But Scherzer on the mound today for Seattle. Luis Castillo on the mound for Seattle. Max Scherzer on the mound for Toronto. Game 3 of the Brewers and Dodgers. Glasnow versus TBD. Jose Quintana. I would rather just start Jose Quintana than have an opener for him, but Pat Murphy is still deciding.
Listen, Quintana's had a lot of postseason experience. One of the reasons that you got Quintana in the offseason, number one, you could afford him.
Yeah.
Number 2, though, is that he brought some leadership and some experience in high leverage situations, many of them against the Brewers, but leverage in high leverage situations, nevertheless, when he takes the mound, because the Brewers are a team that never concedes before the season starts. And they had 97 wins this year. Jose Quintana, for what the Brewers paid for him, fantastic all season long. I agree with you. I think they got to run him out there.
Yeah, I think so too. And the Brewers needing a win desperately. In NBA news, the Milwaukee Bucks have waived Chris Livingston.
No!
I know.
How are we going to move on? How are we going to make it? Again,
Well,
I don't want to
someone
write
has
the
to be
season.
let go so Alex could come to town.
I don't want to write off the season before it begins, but this is about as close of a move that's going to get me there as possible. I mean, how do the Bucks expect to compete without Sean Livingston?
Disrespectful. It's Chris Livingston, but yes, I get your point.
Exactly.
Sean Livingston, man, maybe. I mean, he's a multiple champion, with the Warriors.
Sure.
Yeah.
Chris Livingston. Yeah.
Chris Livingston, either way, hopefully he finds.
How are they going to
finds
do
a
it?
new
How are they
spot.
going to make it?
I don't know. Bruce Pearl, who is retired from coaching Auburn, he has joined the TNT group, joined
I
the
can see
TNT
that.
family, and he's going to be one of their studio analysts on their
He's funny.
college basketball coverage.
Say what you want about him maybe painting outside the lines from time to time. He's colorful, and I think he's going to be really, really good on television. I think he's going to be outstanding.
Yeah,
So I can see that.
Yeah, I think so as well. So that's the next era of his career. And then tonight, Thursday night football, Steelers and Bengals.
Who you rooting for, Nick?
Tonight?
Yeah,
I didn't even know there was. Of course, I'm rooting for the Steelers. It's a huge game, guy. I mean,
Got his TJ Watt jersey on. If you're not watching
got
on
my
the screen,
TJ
you can't
Watt
see
jersey
that.
on. I'm feeling good. This is a huge opportunity. I mean, the Steelers are already a couple games clear in the division, 4-1 as it stands now, with an opportunity playing the only other team that has multiple wins in the division. They lose this game. Cincinnati's one game back. They win this game. Yeah.
Well, but
you know what? Give me the
Cin-
Bengals.
Cincinnati. Well, the thing about Cincinnati is they brought in Flacco, and I think that was the right move to make because they weren't getting any kind of production since Joe Burrow went out. So you had to bring in somebody who can get the ball out quick, somebody who doesn't need a long time in the offense, somebody who's been through everything that a quarterback can possibly go through, and that's what they got. And I thought he did as well as he could possibly do against the Packers last week.
Hell of a job on short notice. He's a pro's pro. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's had some of the greatest highs in this league's history. I mean, he was the highest paid quarterback at one point for a reason because he had the greatest run to a Super Bowl. I think he had 11 touchdowns, no picks when they won it in 2012. But Mike Tomlin, a little salty earlier this week about the acquisition and the trade being made. He was calling out Andrew Berry of the Cleveland Browns, and he said, why would you trade in the division? He's a little salty about that. The Ravens and Joe Flacco faced off with the Steelers many times. Additionally, Flacco with the Browns faced off with the Steelers. This is an 11-11 overall record between the two teams. So I would be salty, too, to bring out a guy borderline retirement to face you who has fared well in his regular season matchups with you in the past, additionally in the postseason, but most notably in the regular season while a member of the Ravens. So, Joe Flacco, I hope that he doesn't sink the Steelers tonight. That would stink.
And don't mind me. I've been just choking on my coffee over here. So
I mean, anyone on the stream saw some level of concern. I went into fill the air mode as you're trying to fill your lungs with air.
Sure. Why don't you guys just talk for a minute or two?
Yeah, we're just gonna go. I was just pulling up Matt LaFleur here, just about ready to. As soon as Nick was done filming, like, all right, time to go to Matt LaFleur because he is up at the podium in Green Bay.
All right, there he is, Matt LaFleur, Packers head coach, virtually live. I think we had to tape delay it by about 3 or 4 minutes as I was choking on my coffee.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Hey, you're still alive. You're still with us,
Yes,
Doug.
I am.
So
I told you guys off the air the story of the late Chet Kopic, who, when I was working with him at Sporting News, he was in a taped interview, and he decided that would be a good opportunity for him to have his dinner. And he had a chicken bone lodged in his throat as he was coming back out on the air on 380 radio stations on a Saturday night. And we had a producer who was his last day, and I forgot the guy's name, which is shame on me. But we had a producer who was his last day on the job producing Chet's show and had to give him live on the air the Heimlich because Chet, as he's coming back from this taped interview, was going, that is not
That's pretty good.
Chet lived he lived another 10 years after that. That's
ended up being fine.
He ended up from that incident being fine, but Chet was, if you knew Chet was a legend. And that was one of the more colorful stories that I have about my weird broadcasting career. All right, coming up next, that was, of course, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. They've got the Arizona Cardinals coming up on Sunday, 3:25 kickoff on the Packers radio network. You can listen in Madison on 1310 WIBA or also WIBA FM or around the state on the Packers radio network. You can listen to it on the former 97.3 The Game in Milwaukee, also on the big 95.7 in Milwaukee as well. So we are moving in Milwaukee, those broadcasts, but for the next 2 weeks. So the Cardinals game and the Steelers game, those will be on both the old station 97.3, whatever they're calling it now, B97.3.
Yeah.
I don't know where they came up with I don't know why they put a B in front of it. There's not a B in the call letters, but maybe there will be. Who knows? They don't tell me these things. But it'll also be on the big 95.7 FM as well. So we've got you covered one way or another. You can also find it on the iHeartRadio app or at Packers.com. All right, coming up next, Pat Murphy met the media yesterday. We cut out the first 20 minutes or so of him introducing himself and having reporters introduce themselves to him in Los Angeles. I thought it was just going to be a Milwaukee thing. No.
Nope.
No. Hey, where are you from? What's your name? Oh, great. All right. Great to have you. So we'll hear that, not that part of it, but the meat and bones of what Pat Murphy had to say yesterday. Also, Hunter Baumgart will join us coming up in segment number 3 of this hour as well. Doug Russell, Nick Bruzewitz, Dave Gaspert's D.N.D. on the game.
Fox on Tech.
Google is bringing about more AI to more people around the world. U.S.-based users of Google's search engine have been seeing a transition to AI mode for their web searching. Instead of lists of websites that may or may not have much to do with your search query, you've been given comprehensive answers, explanations, or steps to take with sources cited. Google is now rolling out AI mode to more people around the world as it begins to deploy and integrate more agentic artificial intelligence features. In what Google hopes will be the near future, Google won't just find you a restaurant, it will book reservations on your behalf. It will also rely on your Google history to make decisions for you, or at least present you with options you'd like. Agentic, meaning agent-like features, will be part of Google AI's Ultra tier, a service costing subscribers $250 a month. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1975.
In September, the Isley Brothers have a #1 album, The Heat Is On, driven by the #4 single, Fight the Power. Alive is a 2-record live album that goes to #9 for Kiss. They released the single Rock and Roll All Night, which goes to #12. David Bowie switches to Philly Soul on the LP Young Americans, featuring the #1 single Fame, which was co-written by John Lennon. UK rock band Foghat have a top 20 hit with Slow Ride from the album Fool for the City. In October of 75, Pink Floyd released their follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon. Wish You Were Here goes to number 1 in the US and the UK.
What have we found? Same old fears. Wish you were here.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1975. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1972.
He was singing bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove a Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die.
1972, Don McLean goes to number 1 with the single and album American Pie. Paul Simon's solo debut gives him a top 10 hit, Mother and Child Reunion. Fast forward to March, where Neil Young has a number 1 album and a number 1 single with Heart of Gold. And Deep Purple released their quintessential album Machine Head, which goes to number 1 in the UK, number 7 in the US, and features the classic hit Smoke on the Water.
Smoke on the water, a fire in the sky. Smoke on the water.
Also in March, the band America releases their debut album. It goes to number 1 and yields a number 1 single with Horse with No Name.
See, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1972. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
In June of 77, Ram Jam have a top 20 U.S. hit single with a cover of Lead Belly's song Black Betty. Chicago area rock band Styx have a U.S. top 10 album Grand Illusion, including the top 10 single Come Sail Away.
Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me.
In July of 77, the Grateful Dead veered towards progressive rock, adding strings, horn, and a choir on their ninth studio album, Terrapin Station.
Terrapin in the whistle is screaming. Terrapin.
In August of 77, the King dies. Elvis Presley's found dead in his home in Memphis, Tennessee at the age of 42. Detroit rock vocalist Iggy Pop releases his second solo album, Lust for Life. It's his second collaboration with David Bowie. New York's Billy Joel releases his fifth album, The Stranger. It goes to number 2 in the U.S., with the single Just the Way You Are rising to number 3.
I want you just the way you are.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up.
It's D.N.D. Greg Russell, Nick Brusewitz, Dave Gasper on the Game Radio Network. There's a big game coming up tonight in Los Angeles. Well, it's actually this afternoon, I suppose. In Los Angeles, it's just after 3 o'clock local time. So good luck with that traffic. The first pitch is at 5:08 Wisconsin time. Pat Murphy, Brewers manager, met the media at Dodger Stadium yesterday ahead of today's game. And, well, he didn't have anything to say about the pitching staff or who is going to pitch, and it's still TBD, although we'll have to throw somebody out there at some point. But nevertheless, here is the bulk of Pat Murphy's availability with the assembled media at Dodger Stadium yesterday.
to them. They've been incredible. The Phillies didn't hit them. You know, they're one of the better hitting teams in baseball. I don't know the numbers, but I think they're one of the better hitting teams in baseball. Some of the greatest hitters in our game struggled against this pitching staff. So they're in a good spot. The Dodgers are in a good spot. We all know that. They're playing great, and they got healthy pitching back that they, you know, heck, somebody said Snell makes more money than our entire pitching staff. There's for a reason, because he's great. And that what he demonstrated the other night was the high end of his game. That's unbelievable. That's great. We can't do anything about it. But to put it on Yelly, like Yelly's struggling, like he hasn't got a lot of hits in the last 3 or 4 games. If this was midseason, nobody'd say a word. But now we're chirping about it like there's something wrong with Yelich. There's nothing wrong with him. He'll respond. He always does. People doubted him after you were one of them, probably. I don't read his stuff, but if I did, I'd go right to your stuff first, I promise. That was a little facetious, wasn't it? Or sarcastic, I guess was the right word. Okay. So going right to your stuff, you were crushing Yelich, said, hey, he lost it. He couldn't ever get it back, blah, 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 blah. Were you? I don't know for sure, but were you? But 2020, 2021, you were crushing it. You weren't? Okay, whenever you were crushing him, because I know you were, he's responded with 29 homers and 100 plus RBI. So he'll respond again. There's no question in my mind.
Dice K.
Dice K.
Hi, Pat. Yep, you guys came up short last 2 games, but Ohtani is still kind of quiet, relatively quiet. You guys are handling him well. So what do you think of the matchup and what you guys are doing well?
I kind of feel the same way about Ohtani as Yelich, and I don't know the number comparison. I don't look at that stuff, but he's dangerous, and we pitch him as tough and as careful as you can pitch him, and we bring a matchup in every time we can. So for a 4-game stretch or a 5-game stretch, whatever he struggled for, that's not enough to say, oh, this guy's in a bad place. It's because those guys are so good that they can flip it on and boom, and things can result-wise change like that. You know, because Ohtani, I know, had 1 line drive caught yesterday and got another hit. I don't know. We walk him 100 times, so it's like I don't look at him as struggling at all. I just don't. I don't look at those type of numbers. I know if Sanchez is pitching left on left and he's running the 2-seamer in, throwing that slider away, that's tough for everybody. And he's going to be especially careful. If you don't care if you walk him, you're going to be especially careful of Ohtani. So I think Yelich is in a similar boat, not obviously the same hitter, but he's in a similar boat. They're pitching him saying, okay, I'll face whoever next. You know what I mean? And makes it tough. And he wants to produce because he wants to help the team. So it's that cycle that happens. And then you don't get the results, and then you guys start writing about it like there's something wrong with them and there's some simple solution. You know, you get results by staying on your process, and if you stay on your process, you'll get the results. Beth.
Actually, this question is for Austin.
Go, Austin.
Everybody hears your dad talking all the time. So based on your inside knowledge of the Brewers, what do they have to do to get out of this 2-0 deficit they're facing?
Just stick with it and keep battling through it. I think they can do it. And, yeah, I believe they can do it.
What makes you believe?
Well, the guys respond back really good. Like, start of the season 0-4. Those games were not good, but then they responded with the best record in baseball. So I believe they can do it.
How cool was that? How cool was? I mean, Austin is now a media star.
Cool.
Austin Murphy getting a question in his dad's presser and answering it and knocking it out of the park too.
Yeah, I mean, you could see Murph just beaming with pride.
Should have been
when that happens. Like, look at this kid.
That's
I mean,
fantastic.
he's just wonderful.
Love that.
Proud of him.
Hunter Baumgart's going to join us next, our Brewers insider, as the crew gets set for tonight's critical Game 3 against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. 5:08 first pitch for the crew, and they were the Trolley Dodgers. That's how they got the name the Dodgers when they were in New York.
Really?
Because the subway, known by some as the trolley back in the day. So the Trolley Dodgers.
Wow.
There you go.
You learn something new every day.
Indeed. All right. We'll come back with Hunter Baumgart. It is D.N.D, Doug Russell, Nick Bruzewitz, and Dave Gasper. Stay with us on the Game Radio Network.
I sit here alone and I wonder why. Friday night and everyone, I can feel the heat, but it's
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1975.
In September, the Isley Brothers have a number one album, The Heat Is On, driven by the number 4 single, Fight the Power. Alive is a 2-record live album that goes to number 9 for Kiss. They released the single Rock and Roll All Night, which goes to number 12. David Bowie switches to Philly Soul on the LP Young Americans, featuring the number 1 single Fame, which was co-written by John Lennon. UK rock band Foghat have a top 20 hit with Slow Ride from the album Fool for the City. In October of 75, Pink Floyd released their follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon. Wish You Were Here goes to number 1 in the US and the UK.
what have we found? Same old fear. Wish you were here.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1975. Coming up.
Fox on Tech.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman in DC making the case that artificial intelligence is already making Americans more productive and that it's essential to democratize it by getting the technology in as many hands as possible. To do that, Altman joined Federal Reserve Vice Chair for Supervision Michelle Bowman to talk about the impact of AI on banks and businesses. Altman making the argument that it's not all doom and gloom, but rather that AI will create new jobs that we don't even understand yet.
There are cases where entire classes of jobs will go away. There are entirely new classes of jobs that will come. And largely, I think this will look somewhat like most of history in that the tools people have to use their jobs will let them do more.
OpenAI telling Fox Business they will be opening an office called The Workshop next year in DC, their first office there. The goal is to expose lawmakers and government teams to artificial intelligence. With Fox on Tech, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1967.
Try to set the night on fire.
In January of 1967, Los Angeles band The Doors released their debut album, which eventually goes to number 2, and features the single Light My Fire, which goes to number 1 in July. The Rolling Stones released Ruby Tuesday, an ode to a groupie written by Keith Richards. The song takes them to number 1 in the U.S. in March. And San Francisco band The Jefferson Airplane released the surrealistic Pillow album, scoring 2 top 10 hits with White Rabbit and Somebody to Love.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Would you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love.
In March of 67, Buffalo Springfield re-releases their debut album to include the hit single For What It's Worth. In April of 67, Give Me Some Lovin' by the Spencer Davis Group goes to number 7 in the U.S., with vocals by 17-year-old Steve Winwood. And in May, Elvis Presley marries his 21-year-old girlfriend Priscilla in Las Vegas. In May, Mitch Ryder hits number 4 with Devil with a Blue Dress, Good Golly Miss Molly. And the Jimi Hendrix Experience released their debut in the UK. In July, they toured the US as the opening act for the Monkees in support of the US album release.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1967. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1975.
In September, the Isley Brothers have a number 1 album, The Heat Is On, driven by the number 4 single, Fight the Power. Alive is a 2-record live album that goes to number 9 for Kiss. They released the single Rock and Roll All Night, which goes to number 12. David Bowie switches to Philly Soul on the LP Young Americans, featuring the number 1 single Fame, which was co-written by John Lennon. UK rock band Foghat have a top 20 hit with Slow Ride from the album Fool for the City. In October of 75, Pink Floyd released their follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon. Wish You Were Here goes to number 1 in the US and the UK.
What have we found? Same old fears. Wish you were here.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1975. Coming up.
Madison's #1 hit music station.
Guys, it's us, the Jonas Brothers.
We always knew how to talk.
Welcome back in. It's D.N.D. Doug Russell, Mike Brzezowitz, Dave Gasper playing the hits of the 80s and 90s. No, I'm kidding. We're still talking sports here on the game.
Yeah.
Despite reports of our imminent demise, we are still around, and we're going to be around. Hunter Baumgart joins us.
We are around, kicking,
Yeah,
and screaming, but
barricading the door so they don't take it anyway. Hunter Baumgart joining us here in studio, and so we've got a couple of things that we need to talk to Hunter about. Brewers, yes, but you got some information for our listeners in Milwaukee specifically who used to hear us over terrestrial radio on 97.3.
Yes,
the former game, but we're still available to you. Tell us how any of our listeners who've been catching us on the stream or on 1070 The Game in Madison's app, how can they get a 97.3 The Game feed?
Right. So all this is, fluid, and we're just going through it the best we can. And so now we have been still live. If you search 97.3 The Game on the iHeartRadio app, you still get us. And now that is going to be a kind of a live feed of what the over-the-air station used to be. So it'll be when we're not on, it'll be Fox Sports.
Okay.
And then tonight for the baseball postgame show, we will air on that iHeart platform as well. If you search 97.3 The Game, we'll also be on the socials. We'll be on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for the baseball postgame show as well tonight after Brewers and Dodgers. But you can, easy enough, as you always have done, 97.3 The Game. Now, you do have to search it. I believe it's a different station than it was because we all know what happened to the other one. So I think basically just search 97.3 The Game in the iHeartRadio app, and you're going to get pretty much everything you used to get.
All right. Very good. And everybody's got the internet in their car now. So yes, it used to be easier.
Yes.
But come on, everybody's got a smartphone now, and everybody's got Bluetooth. So you can find us. You just have to do it on the iHeartRadio app, and you will continue to get Drew and KB. You'll continue to get D&D. You'll continue to get No BS, as well as the baseball postgame show. Speaking of which, the Brewers have their backs against the wall.
They do. Game 3 tonight. This evening.
That's an important one. 5:08, 3:08 Los Angeles time, which is kind of a weird start time, but the American League game will be on after that. 2 West Coast Championship Series. You don't necessarily get that every year.
Right.
At the same time, but yeah, this one's kind of important. Who do you think's going to pitch?
Well, let's wow, both of us are getting choked up here. 3 of us actually.
Yeah.
We're getting
It's very emotional.
It is.
Very emotional.
That time of year, So I think Quintana's a big part of tonight. And then if Mizorowski could be as well, maybe they save him for game 4. I think Quintana's the guy that gets most of the innings tonight. Whether they do an opener or not is another question. I would think we're going to get that information pretty quick here. Because Pat Murphy said in his press conference, as you guys heard, like it just, most likely they're going to get that to us when they make the decision. So I think that will be the case soon. And then I would think Jose Quintana, I would be fine with Jose Quintana just starting this game. I mean, there's been openers and whatever. I just start a lefty, get Jose Quintana out there, see how long he can go, especially in a long series. And now you're going to have to at least play 6 games if you want to win this series. So if that's the case, then yeah, absolutely. Let's go. And also the Brewers have a 9-game postseason road losing streak. They have not won on the road in the postseason since Game 3 of the NLCS in 2018. Now, they also have played a significant amount of home playoff games, right? They played 3 against the Mets, 2 against the Diamondbacks. Did not win in Atlanta in 21. Did not win in Washington in 19. Did not win in LA in 2020. So this would be a good time to do what Toronto did last night and score 12 runs.
Love it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hunter, we talked about it yesterday. The Bucks come back down 0-2 in their series to win the NBA Finals a few years ago.
Yeah.
Who's got to be this team's Giannis in that equation? Who do the Brewers need to be that star player for them to make that comeback and win this series?
Who needs to be the Giannis? I think, as much as Yelich has struggled, this team really, it's just, you've seen it throughout the regular season. The team goes as Yelich goes in a lot of ways, and he needs to, play like we know him to play. Now, I don't necessarily think that that's out of the realm of possibilities. Like, I don't think he can snap out of it. I don't think you drop him in the order. I think you keep him right where he is, and you're either going to win with Yelich or not. That's kind of the basis of it. You're either going to succeed with him playing really well, or maybe you're not going to succeed because he's not playing well. And it's not only him who would, cost you a series or anything like that, but he is a significant part of that middle part of the order that was producing in those first couple of games of that Cubs series when you scored 9 and 7, and Contreras was as well. And obviously the bottom of the order was doing a little better too. I saw the Brewers have, for the first 2 games of this NLCS, have a 0.96 team batting average through the first 2 games. I mean, so I think overall the team needs to hit better, but boy, if Yelich can just even get back to what, maybe even a little less of what we saw most of the regular season and just be kind of average, get a hit or 2 a game, that'll just boost that middle part of the order. And then you can hopefully have some guys around him like a Contreras start to heat up a little bit in Terang too.
Yeah, and Hunter too. It seems like this offense, they need to get back to what they've done before, which is stringing hits together. I mean, they did it really well in game 1 of the NLDS, but then after that, it was home run happy in game 2. Didn't really do anything games 3 and 4. Home runs only, solo home runs only in game 5, and then really not much at all in games 1 and 2 of this series. So, I mean, how much do you think that's a factor too in their relative lack of success over these past few games, not being able to string the hits together?
Yeah, I think and like you said, that's exactly what they did to succeed all season long. You want to get back to that. I know home runs win in the postseason. Everybody talks about that, but you also, if you're the Brewers, you have to get back to that woodpecker mentality on offense. And not that they've lost it or not that they've tried, that they haven't been able to do it. It's just more so the pitching they've faced has not been conducive to that. It just has not worked out. So I think there's 2 factors. One is that the pitching's been really good in the first 2 games of this series. But like you said, this doesn't just go to that. You go to the shutout in Chicago. You go to the 3-run output in Chicago as well, and the 3-run output in game 5 as well. But you ended up winning that game because you got great pitching and 3 different guys were able to hit homers. So yeah, that is big against Tyler Glass now. Can they have some more success than they did against Snell and Yamamoto? I think so, just because that's baseball. I mean, we said it after the Snell outing that, it's tough to have a pitching performance like that back-to-back nights. Well, they did that. So it's even harder to make it 3 nights in a row. So I think the Brewers will have a little more success.
Travis in Greenfield asks, what was Hunter trying to say about how Milwaukee listeners could listen over the air? Didn't catch it. Doug was talking over him. Now, that's not nice. I don't think I was talking over you.
I don't think so. You can listen on 97.3 The Game on the iHeartRadio app. Just search 97.3 The Game on the iHeartRadio app.
So it is not over the air.
No.
It is not over the air. It is on the app.
That is what we do know. Yes. If there's anything we know this week, that is what we do know.
So you have to search for for 97.3 The Game
on the iHeartRadio app.
On the iHeartRadio app. Because if you search for 97.3 The Game on your car radio, you're going to get Seals and Croft or somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And nothing against them.
Everything against them, actually. You know what? I can't stand listening to them anymore.
Yeah.
Not that I listened to them much to begin with, but
yeah. Dave said it for me.
Okay. Also, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X as well. And there's going to be a debut of the new D.N.D logo coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got logos and everything.
Yes.
See, we're a real show and everything.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
That's right.
All right,
Logo
Hunter,
and all.
Great stuff as always. Thank you. And you're headed out to Madison for the football feast?
Yeah, we'll be at the Easttown Mall location of Buffalo Wild Wings in Madison from 3 until 7. Stop by. You could win Packers tickets.
Oh, there you go. We're still giving those away as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe see Nick there.
Hour number 3 coming up straight
we'll
ahead.
see.
Stay with us.
Oh.
It's D.N.D. on the game.
We always knew how to break. Couple nights.
Here are the top Michael Jackson songs you've thumbed up. Number 3, The Way You Make Me Feel.
The way you make me feel.
Number 2. Beat It. Number 1. Billie Jean. Hear more from Michael Jackson and similar artists now. Search for Michael Jackson on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Foreigner songs that you've thumbed up.
Number 3.
Hot Blooded.
I show you loving like you never knew. That's why I'm hot-blooded. Check it and see. Feel the fever burning inside of me. Come on, baby, do you do more than dance?
Number 2.
I Want to Know What Love Is.
Change this lonely life. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me.
Number 1.
Cold as Ice.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love.
Hear more from Foreigner and similar artists now.
Search for Foreigner on iHeartRadio.
All your favorite music,
All your favorite stations.
all free.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1969.
Low-budget film Easy Rider captures the public imagination with a soundtrack by Steppenwolf, the Byrds, and the Electric Prunes. The Woodstock Music and Art Fair is held August 15th through 18th on Max Yasgur's farm in Bethel. 32 of the biggest bands of the day played to a crowd estimated at 500,000. The event is later released as a movie and album. And with the boost from their appearance at Woodstock, San Francisco band Santana hits the top 10 with their debut album, Evil Ways. The festival undoubtedly immortalized Jimi Hendrix and ushered in the era of large rock concerts and arena rock bands. Also in October, Led Zeppelin have their only U.S. top 10 hit when Whole Lotta Love reaches number 4.
I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Oh, whole lot of love. Whole lot of love. Whole lot of love.
The Allman Brothers Band released their debut album on Capricorn Records to good reviews but limited sales. And 7 years after his last number 1, Elvis Presley tops the charts with Suspicious Minds.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1969. Coming up. iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Elton John to talk about performing live.
Going on stage was when I could show off and be comfortable. And you know, I was always a bit timid off stage. And the stage gave me an outlet. And you'll find that with many performers, whether they be dancers, actors, singers, musicians. They have the outlet on stage to become the person they're not off stage. And I think that's what eventually led to my troubles, along with the drugs and the drink, is that the person who was fast becoming popular as Elton John and becoming, you know, the number one rock star in the world had kind of escaped from the person off stage, and the balance was completely off kilter. And the more I became successful, the harder I worked, and the less time I concentrated on being normal or trying to be kind of normal. But people who knew me privately were shocked, I think, at what I was doing off stage. Rather, you know, they knew what I was going to do on stage, but off stage they were shocked and disappointed.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Elton John and all your favorite artists.
This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee, 97.3 The Game. Number one for sports and stuff.
He's very knowledgeable, very intelligent guy, very personable guy.
Here's Dave Gasper.
We are going to a game 4 in the ALCS between the Blue Jays and the Mariners, as the Blue Jays beat up the Seattle Mariners yesterday 13-4. So they bring the series to 2-1 now, and they have Luis Castillo on the mound today for Seattle, Max Scherzer on the mound for Toronto. Game 3 of the NLCS is tonight between the Brewers and Dodgers. Tyler Glasnow on the mound for LA, and TBD still
Love
for
that
the Milwaukee
guy.
Brewers.
Like
he's
talented.
He has been getting worked.
Yeah, he really
TBD in this series. He's thrown a lot of innings.
It's about time TBA gets a chance, but we'll roll with TBD.
One of these days, I mean, I think they're cousins, aren't they?
I think they're brothers, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's like the Negro brothers, and yeah.
Looking forward to hopefully getting after him, because it feels like Glasnow's gettable, right? The other guys are not necessarily.
Sure, he's only
at
paid
this point.
$130 million.
Right. They've had, 7 or 8 elite pitching performances in the postseason. And, Snell has made up 3 of them, and Yamamoto multiple of them. And now Glasnow has had one of them. So these are elite pitchers. Yeah, but this one is the least elite I think you've seen so far.
Yeah, he's
That's
only,
a fair way of putting it.
Yeah.
They're all good.
They are.
Yeah.
He's only getting paid $30 million a season, 5 years, $136 million on his contract. So, I mean, easily the least expensive of the group. The most affordable. Anyone could have had this guy, but he ends up being with the Dodgers. So
imagine that.
Yeah, crazy how that ends up happening. But yeah, that's going to be the pitching matchup. Jose Quintana likely to pitch in some capacity here for the Brewers, potentially as the starter. So also tonight in the world of sports, you have Thursday night football, Steelers and Bengals, and the quarterback matchup that there has been nicknames for by Cam Hayward specifically. He's been given. Take a listen to this.
Oldest quarterback's playing this week. Let's go. Woo! Icy hot ball. I love it.
Roger's like, I don't wear icy hot, but icy hot bowl. There was someone in the background that also said Unk Bowl.
All right, I like the Unk Bowl. Listen, Rogers takes everything just too damn seriously. Sometimes it's a joke. I don't take icy hot. Yeah, I know you're on still your ayahuasca journey or whatever the hell you're doing to get your body ready, and it's whatever. Just roll with it.
Home remedy.
Behind the scenes, I think Aaron is a fun, joke around type of guy. But you
do
in front of the camera, he gets very every teammate ever, besides the few disgruntled ones that weren't as great as him, have gone out and said how good of a teammate he is.
I didn't say he was a bad. Listen, I didn't say he was a bad teammate. You were saying that he was like some sort of jokester behind the scenes.
I think he's a funny guy.
The only thing that he does is he likes to photobomb the captain's pictures. That's the one thing that, okay, those are somewhat amusing. I don't know. I covered Aaron Rodgers for 16 years, and I don't know how many times he yucked it up in front of me.
Well, how many times were you out getting a beer with him or hanging out on a dock?
So
take him out of the professional sphere. I think he's probably a fun guy.
Fair. Now, there's one conversation that I had with him. It was when he was injured. And when the quarterback is injured, the quarterback is not required by NFL rules to
meet with you,
talk to the media. Correct. And I forget, I think this was probably the year that he broke his collarbone because he was out for a while. And so we were all standing there waiting for Brett Hundley, Matt Flynn. I don't know.
Deshaun Kaiser.
Right. Yeah, one of them. I don't know. They all kind of blended together after a while.
Feels right.
Seneca Wallace.
And so Aaron was at his locker, which was, close to where his backups was. And we were just talking. I mean, like, I couldn't interview him. I couldn't stick a microphone in front of his face. We weren't allowed to do that per NFL rules. The quarterback is injured. We just
off the record.
We just had an off the record, pleasant conversation about like his hometown. We talked about reality TV. It was actually very, very pleasant. So I
That's
see.
right.
I see what you're saying. I just don't know that I.
Lovable guy.
I just don't know that I see Aaron Rodgers. But that was also a long time ago before some of the stuff got before the ayahuasca trips and things like that of that ilk.
And I feel like some of these guys, I mean, when they're in front of the media, it's a completely different kind of personality than what they are when it's just the guys. I mean, Christian Yelich, same kind of thing. When the cameras are on, when the microphones are on, like it is, straight-laced, calm, like straightforward. And, when he's not like in front of the camera and just kind of just talking with me, he's a lot like, he's pretty funny. And like, he will like be able to just kind of have those kinds of conversations, be a bit more fun, a bit more laid back.
Sure.
When it's not, everyone's got a camera in his face and asking him questions.
Prince Fielder was like that. Prince
Yeah.
Fielder was very quiet in front of the media. He felt like he got burned early in his career. And there were a lot of questions about his relationship with his father, and he didn't want to talk about that for obvious
Understandably
reasons.
so,
Of course
but-
it's understandable.
Yeah.
But you turn all the cameras off, you turn all the tape recorders off, and he's 180 degrees the other way.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of guys are like that.
Yeah, for sure. So, there are some guys though that have made some enemies, I guess, or made fans not like them with their stuff in front of the media. Namely, guys like Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, guys.
We don't like them because they were Cardinals and they
were good
consistently-
and
they
destroyed us.
consistently
That's right.
kick the Brewers' ass. But those guys are 2 Hall of Famers right there, obviously.
Yes, they are.
Lockdown first ballot. If you don't vote for them, you should probably get your vote taken away from them.
Probably. Just like we should take away the vote from whoever didn't vote for Ichiro Suzuki.
Correct.
That guy should not vote for the Hall of Fame anymore.
Because you clearly don't know anything about baseball.
Yeah, clearly.
So do we not? So then the question becomes: do we not like them because they were Brewers killers, or do we not like them because of other stuff?
It could be both. I think for Yadier Molina, it might be a little bit of both. But Yadier Molina has expressed his interest in returning to baseball as either a manager or a coach. Expressed that today on Instagram per Robert Murray. And Albert Pujols has gotten some interest in the Angels managerial job, and also now apparently the Baltimore Orioles want to interview Albert Pujols. Now, Pujols has no connection really to the Baltimore Orioles.
No.
Pujols did spend a number of years in Los Angeles with the Angels. So I've got a theory here, Doug, that this whole rumor of the Orioles being interested in Albert Pujols as their manager is 100% put out by Pujols and his camp as just a decoy and a bluff to pressure the Angels to hurry up with their offer to make him their manager.
Really?
And coming up fairly soon here, I'd imagine that the Angels hire Albert Pujols as their manager.
Hey, Albert, remember when you spent all those seasons with us and we made the postseason once and lost?
Yeah.
Remember how
every
you
game?
didn't come close to the same production that you had the first half of your career in St. Louis? Let's run that back.
Yeah. Because we like you, but we think you're our top target to be the manager. Okay, well, where's the contract? We're still going to keep on looking around. Okay, well, I am too. How about I just go to Baltimore? Maybe they like me.
You know what? How about you do that?
Yeah.
If I'm the Angels, you look at his splits, the first half of his career to the second half of his career.
Yeah.
It's pretty dramatic.
It is. But see, here's the problem, Doug. You are expecting the Angels to apply logic.
Right. Well, they haven't done
And
that. In
they don't do
decades. Artie Moreno, I think, is a good man. I think he might be a terrible owner.
He is 100% a terrible owner. 100%. How do you have Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in the prime of their careers for several seasons and not even come close to sniffing the playoffs?
No.
How?
Not
You
even
have the
trading
two
Ohtani.
best players in the league. You can't build anything close around them?
Well, and he also paid for Pujols. He paid for Trout. Maybe he felt burned by Ohtani. I don't know, because Ohtani got the $700 million contract across town. But yeah, I don't get it, because again, it's not like he wasn't paying for these guys.
Yeah.
He spends money, but he spends it stupidly, because one of the other pieces that he tried to get to build a contending team around those two guys was Anthony Rendon. How has that worked?
Fair.
How has that
really
worked?
well for Anthony.
It's
True.
been great for him. Anthony Rendon's made out like a bandit. He hasn't played it all since.
That's right.
At least close to it. I mean, literally, it didn't even take a day this year. It was pitchers and catchers reported to spring training, and Anthony Rendon announced, I'm out for the season. I've got a surgery I've got to get. Instantly.
That's right.
Instantly.
he could deliver for another team down the road if he finds his love for the sport again. But I'm pretty sure he said something along the lines of like, he doesn't.
It's just a job to him,
right?
It's just a job.
Let me ask you guys this, Nick. I'll start with you. When you bring in an Anthony Rendon, when you bring in an Albert Pujols and spend all that money for these guys, does that make it bad ownership, bad decisions? Or were these good decisions at the time that didn't work out, which we've talked about over the last, week or so?
Yeah, it's poor decision making because I think that ultimately Rendon in particular, I mean, what was the plan there? The plan was to compete with the guys you had in the house. They had absolutely zero pitching, and they went, we're going to lean further into the lineup. Like, they need to build a roster with capable arms before they do anything. And I think they've mutilated, ruined the career of one of my favorite players ever, Mike Trout. And Mike's, he takes his bag instead of going elsewhere. I get it. He's, part of the problem. But some franchises feel like they're doomed, and the Angels are that franchise.
Josh in the Falls writes, Albert was also 44 years old when he signed with the Angels. That's why his numbers dropped off. He was geriatric. Wasn't quite that old.
But. Yeah, wasn't quite, but it certainly felt like it. He certainly looked like it.
In years prior to 9/11, before they started looking really at birth certificates and passports and all this, with some of the specifically
they
from
thought he was older than he is, and maybe he is.
Well, I mean, that was like Bartolo Colon, for example. That was the thought process on him, that Bartolo Colon, he said he was 20. He was probably really about 25. But then again, if he was 25, he played till he was over 50. So, but especially from some of the Latin American countries before 9/11.
Yeah.
You said you were a certain age and perhaps you weren't. We'll put it that way.
What's the excuse with Thon Maker then?
What's the excuse? He just wasn't good. I don't know.
Yeah.
He wasn't good, and he was always injured. Same thing with Greg Oden.
His
but Greg
age
Oden
is a
was
lie.
From Ohio.
His age was a lie, was my point.
Thon
Much
Maker?
older than that.
Much
older than what he said he was.
It's possible. I mean, I don't have any information as to whether or not Thon Maker was. I just know that it didn't work out. Although Kevin Garnett kept working out with him when they were at the new place. Kevin Garnett was a regular at the Bucks facility working with Thon Maker, and Kevin Garnett, this guy's going to be an MVP candidate. This guy's going to be an MVP. I'm telling you, all he has to do is just got to work on his shot, but he's got the footwork. He's got everything else. He's got basketball.
All he needs
smart.
to do is shoot the ball.
He needs, but he just maybe needs to bulk up just a little bit. But I'm telling you, he's got the makings of a superstar in the NBA. Kevin Durant was, not Kevin Durant. Kevin Garnett.
Thon Maker.
Kevin Garnett was wrong because Thon Maker did not have that at all,
right.
in
Not
any
even
way,
close.
shape, or form.
Yeah, it's not easy evaluating a talent like that and trying to project it. But that's what some people have to do. Some people just sometimes you're just wrong on it. One bit of news that came out during the update here: Aaron Ashby has now been decided as the starter for the Brewers because, of course, why not? He is going to pitch until his arm falls off. He has pitched in every game but one this postseason. He has started multiple times now, and it's just all Aaron Ashby all the time. Just start with the lefty there, and man, this dude is going to have arm surgery again at some point because they're just pitching until his arm falls off.
Yeah. You can always hit us up on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line 877-794-1973. Red Hot Tim Knott writes, so is the new stream considered 97.3 the game over? Then he asks if it's too soon. We all have kind of a morose sense of humor about the whole thing. When I flip on, the old, when I'm expecting to hear, Drew and KB and I hear Denise Williams, I'm like,
If we don't laugh about it, we'll cry.
Right. So I get it. It's like, listen, he's finding us somewhere.
Exactly.
Red Hot Tim Knott is finding us somewhere. And I know I've said this a couple times, but I'm going to keep saying it because it bears repeating. I appreciate everyone who is taking the extra effort to try to find where we are, because it used to be pretty simple. Now it's a little less simple if you're in the Milwaukee area. So thank you. We appreciate it. And keep the morose jokes coming because they are amusing us.
Oh, absolutely. They are. And we've made plenty of those jokes ourselves, probably between us. But Fatter Joe texting in, hate to say it, Artie Moreno is the Herb Cole of baseball.
Whew. Okay, so I hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think the different, maybe with Rendon, yes, but they paid Pujols coming off of a World Series championship, and he was still thought to be in his prime.
Yes.
They paid Trout, even though he had a couple of injuries, they still paid him that $500 million contract in his prime. Herb Cole was getting guys at the end of their careers. Herb Cole was bargain basement shot like Moses Malone, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Just like right at the end. Hall of Fame players that just didn't have anything left in the tank. So I think there's a little bit of a difference there. Karan Butler, a Milwaukee Buck, very late in his career. Steven Jackson, a Milwaukee Buck who hated everything about Milwaukee, and thank God he didn't stay here very long. But right at the end of what was actually a pretty good career.
Yeah.
It's just one after another. So I guess I'll challenge it a little bit on there, even though I kind of understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. I mean, it's spending money in the wrong places. It does kind of track a little bit. The way they go about it is definitely different, but it's just not a great situation all around for either, because I mean, Herb Cole, as much as everyone loved him as the owner of the team, and very nice man, great man, but ownership did kind of leave a little bit lacking. Same thing with Artie Moreno out there and with the Angels.
It's so.
I would say.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
I would just say baseball in general. If you're looking at averages, what percentage of each league has terrible ownership? Baseball leads by a mile. I mean,
well, there's some bad ones. I mean, you look at what's going on with Pittsburgh. Look at what's going on with Cincinnati. Where are you going to go? Somewhere else.
The
Rockies. You look at the John Fisher situation where he's stripping down the former Oakland A's, moving them to Sacramento, which was a dumb idea in the first place.
Horrendous.
You just move them to you got a minor league ballpark. Their minor league ballpark in Las Vegas. You move them there. You put the infrastructure into your team, your players, and they're still going to probably play in Summerlin because after the restructure of minor league baseball, you've got, like, for example, the Sugarland, what are they called?
Skeeters.
Now? They were the Skeeters. They're not the Space something or others.
Oh, yeah.
But they're just, I mean, they're in Sugarland, which is a suburb of Houston. I mean, you can get from one stadium to the other. Well, in Houston traffic.
Yeah, who knows?
Might take a minute, but they're not. They're only a few miles apart, so they're probably going to keep their minor league team in Summerlin.
Cowboys.
There you go, Space Cowboys.
Oh yeah.
So the Las Vegas Aviators, I think is what they're called now. They're probably going to stay there. You should have just put the infrastructure into that stadium right there. Start building your fan base in Las Vegas. And then when you move into your new stadium on the Strip, you have already had like a couple of years of ramp up. Instead, they're in Sacramento. Nobody gives a rip about the team. They're putting infrastructure in for the San Francisco Giants minor league system. What are you doing? Just moronic decisions.
Yeah. Again, Doug, you're trying to apply logic to some of these organizations that don't use them.
I know.
So,
I know.
But I mean, thankfully, the Tampa Bay Rays have finally sold, and they have a new owner who's going to put stuff in, because that was another horrible situation.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will get better.
And the thing about my original point was going to be about Herb Cole, and it's the same thing with Bud Selig. They very similar. There would not be the Milwaukee Bucks without Herb Cole. They would have moved. They would have moved either before he bought them in 1985. They were rumored to be going to Minneapolis, which probably would have happened because the Timberwolves weren't a thing yet.
Yeah.
Wasn't an expansion team yet. Then in the early 2000s, Michael Jordan wanted to buy them and move to Las Vegas. That happened. That was going to happen. The Bucks were on their way to Vegas, and then Herb pulled up stakes. So that's the second time that Herb Cole saved them. And then the third time was when he ultimately sold them to Wes Edens and Mark Lazary, took far less than he could have on the open market because they were going to keep the team here and invest in a new arena. Herb Cole saved the Milwaukee Bucks 3 times. They would not be the Milwaukee Bucks without Herb Cole. Full stop, end of story, period. That is fact.
Mm-hmm.
Also, however, there's a flip side to that.
Yeah.
As far as the basketball product is concerned, they were a pretty lousy team with Herb Cole as the owner of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say the same thing about Bud Selig and the Brewers. There would not be Milwaukee Brewers baseball without Bud Selig fighting from 1965 to 1970 to get a team in Milwaukee, ultimately landing the Seattle Pilots in
bankruptcy court.
Ken Sanders tells a great story about how Bud Selig and Some of his partners came into the spring training facility in Tempe saying, we need your uniforms. And they had a seamstress there ripping pilots off of their uniforms and sewing Brewers onto their uniforms. Ken Sanders was in the room when it happened, tells a great story about that. The Milwaukee Brewers would not exist without Bud Selig.
Mm-hmm.
His fight for Miller Park was something that took forever. It was legendary, and anyone who lived through it knows exactly what I'm talking about. It feels like it was yesterday to me, but I understand that there's a whole generation of Brewers fans that never set foot in County Stadium, but it was our toilet, but it was a crumbling, ruined toilet that had to be replaced. Bud Selig, without Bud Selig's efforts, the Brewers would be in Charlotte. They would not exist, period, full stop, end of story. That having been said. As an owner, outside of the the late 70s, early 80s, the effort to put a winning product on the field wasn't necessarily there.
Yeah.
As bad as the economic situation in Major League Baseball is right now, at least there's revenue sharing. There wasn't revenue sharing in the day.
Yeah.
So you can excuse some of it, but the Brewers for a long time under Bud Selig were just not competitive.
And under Selig as commissioner, he brought in revenue sharing,
Correct.
I believe. So he started that whole
Yeah, he
process
did.
to kind of
Because he lived it.
Yeah.
Because he lived it.
Yeah, and then now you see these. There have been these rumors and reports because Rob Manfred could be retiring in a couple years, like 2029 might be his last one, and then who could be the next commissioner? And then you see Mark Attanazio's name get floated out there a couple of times, like some could put Attanazio into that chair. I'm like, that's
Derek
interesting.
Jeter.
Derek Jeter is commissioner.
He ran the Marlins well.
What? Wait,
I don't know about well.
Guys, he ran the Marlins.
What do you
He
want?
ran the
What do you
Marlins.
want?
He ran the
You got
Marlins,
Yelich.
period.
What do you have to complain about? You got Christian Yelich. Okay?
Yeah, was
You
that
didn't
good
call
for the
him there.
Marlins?
That was great for the Marlins.
Was it?
Was it?
Yes. Their product meets their fan base. I'm sorry.
What
Their
fan
product-
base?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
More eyes, more good teams. That's my opinion. The Brewers fans.
He took out the structure. He took out the spinning,
The Dolphins
fish structure out in center field. What are you doing?
That was ugly.
That was beautiful. I loved that. That was fantastic. All right.
I want a former player as our commissioner.
Good luck.
David Ortiz.
That's never going to happen.
No,
That's
it's
right.
not. It is ownership choosing who their boss is, and ownership will choose ownership to be their bosses.
True.
So someone needs to buy a team.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I want to, you guys, we got Joe Bartle coming up from RotoWire in the third segment. Coming up next, I want you guys to listen to something that I came across yesterday. Cam Newton, he's got a YouTube show out called 4th and 1, and he was spinning off Chase Daniels, who was saying on TikTok about what quarterbacks actually hear in their helmet. And the way that Cam Newton explains it to his co-host, which is a quote unquote layman, which we all are because none of us have taken an NFL snap. It's really fascinating. I want you to hear a portion of that coming up next because I was just fascinated, just riveted by it. And I think you will be too. D.N.D, Doug Russell, Nick Bruzewitz, Dave Gasper. Stay with us on the game.
We were victims of the night. The chemical, physical, kryptonite. Help us to the base and the fading light. Oh, we were bound to get together, bound to get together. She took my arm. I don't know how.
Fox on Tech.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman in DC making the case that artificial intelligence is already making Americans more productive and that it's essential to democratize it by getting the technology in as many hands as possible. To do that, Altman joined Federal Reserve Vice Chair for Supervision, Michelle Bowman, to talk about the impact of AI on banks and businesses. Altman making the argument that it's not all doom and gloom, but rather that AI will create new jobs that we don't even understand yet.
There are cases where entire classes of jobs will go away. There are entirely new classes of jobs that will come. And largely, I think this will look somewhat like most of history in that the tools people have to use their jobs will let them do more.
OpenAI telling Fox Business they will be opening an office called The Workshop next year in DC, their first office there. The goal is to expose lawmakers and government teams to artificial intelligence. With Fox on Tech, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1967.
Van Morrison, formerly of the band Them, has a number 10 hit as a solo artist with Brown Eyed Girl. In July, LA band The Grassroots scored their first top 10 hit with Let's Live for Today, and UK supergroup Cream featuring guitarist Eric Clapton toured the US for the first time.
In the sunshine of your love.
And in September, Janis Joplin's band Big Brother and the Holding Company signed with Columbia Records and released their debut album. October of '67, Memphis band The Box Tops, including 17-year-old gravel voice singer Alex Chilton, have a #1 hit with The Letter.
Yeah, ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone, I'm a going home. My baby used to whip me a leather. My baby used to whip me a leather.
And in November, the first issue of Rolling Stone magazine is published in San Francisco, featuring an interview with John Lennon. The Who have their first and only U.S. top 10 hit with I Can See for Miles. In December, they smashed their instruments on the Smothers Brothers TV show.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1967 coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1976.
Bob Dylan releases his album Desire. It goes to #1 in the States, thanks mainly to significant radio airplay for the single Hurricane.
Couldn't help but make me feel ashamed to live in a land where justice is a game.
Scottish sensations the Bay City Rollers finally score a hit in the U.S. with the #1 single Saturday Night.
Saturday
In February, former Steve Miller Band member Boz Scaggs has a #2 U.S. album with Silk Debris. Peter Frampton hits #1 with his double live album Frampton Comes Alive. It would become the best-selling album of 1976.
I want you, show me the way every day. I want you, show me the way night and day.
In March, Irish hard rockers Thin Lizzy's 6th album, Jailbreak, scores them a #12 hit single with The Boys Are Back in Town.
The boys are back in town again. Been hanging down at Dino's.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1976 coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1969.
In May of '69, Neil Young releases his first album with Crazy Horse, Everyone Knows This Is Nowhere, featuring the songs Cinnamon Girl and Down by the River. The Who released the double concept album Tommy, which goes top 10 in the US and the UK.
He bought my favorite table, he can't beat my best. His disciples leading him, and he just does the rest. Stop crazy, clever fingers, never seen him fall. That gift of a blind kid sure plays a mean pinball.
David Bowie's single Space Oddity, released to coincide with the Apollo 11 moon landing, reaches #5 in the UK. Also in July, Bob Dylan has a top 10 hit with Lay Lady Lay in his new, deeper-sounding vocal style, which he attributes to quitting smoking.
Whatever colors you have in your mind, I'll show them to you, and you'll see them shine. Lay, lady, lay, lay across my big brass bed.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears have a #2 hit with Spinning Wheel, popularizing the so-called brass rock movement that includes BST, Chicago, and Electric Flag.
Drop all your troubles by the riverside. Catch a painted pony on the spinning wheel ride.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1969 coming up.
Welcome back in. It's the Game Radio Network, D.N.D. Doug Russell, Nick Bruzewitz, Dave Gasper. Coming up in segment 3 of this hour, so about 10 minutes or so, Joe Bartle from RotoWire, lead football contributor, will join us. So get your fantasy football questions in on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line, 877-794-1973. Again, the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line, 877-794-1973. We will get you some fantasy football help coming up in the final segment of this hour. I wanted to bring you this because sometimes when you do, you're scrolling around the YouTubes, you come across something that's just fascinating. And this was from Cam Newton's 4th and 1 show that he produces on YouTube. And he was kind of spinning off Chase Daniel, who on TikTok was explaining what a quarterback hears in his helmet from the coach or the offensive coordinator, depending upon who's in his ear, and what that sounds like. And then Cam Newton takes what Chase Daniel did, and then kind of extrapolates it out. And this runs about 4 minutes or so, but I think it's really, really fascinating.
What does an NFL quarterback actually hear in his helmet during a game? It's kind of like this.
All right, Dak, it's 1st and 10. Here's the score. It's 34-30. We need a touchdown. You cannot get in field range. We only have one timeout, right? Great return by Turpin. Here we go. Quarter 4. Good. 3 right. Z motion. 3-yard jet line. Lucy. Hey, make sure you get George Pickens' ball. He's balling, okay? Make sure you motion him over. Make sure he's set. They've been blitzing a lot. Make sure you understand. Hey, make sure you understand they're going to cover 2, right? Alert your pressure here. Your hot route is to your left. It's Turpin in the slot. No sacks. You cannot do any sacks. Here we go.
See what he's going to do here. All right, you got to work right. The slant. Oh, no, they went tricky too. Get on the ball, Dak. Get on the ball. That might be a backwards pass.
Hey, Dak, you got to be careful there.
Next play. Shotty, next play. Come on, forget about it.
Pause right there. Now, there is minimum exaggeration right there, because the reason why I say minimum exaggeration, that's is great content from Chase Daniels, but you only have 40 seconds from the completion or from the previous play when it's down.
Okay. So boom, they just tackled.
40 seconds. That's when the sound
and
come
you
on.
hear.
That's when the sound come on.
All right, break it down. Is it like a buzz before you hear, or you just start hearing somebody talk? Like, is it like a warning to let you know?
So you basically have 40 seconds to call the next play. You really have 25 seconds to call the actual play.
So 40 seconds to actually say
understand what I'm
hut,
saying?
but you have 25 seconds to actually call the play. I got
So 25 seconds from 40 seconds is how much?
that's about 15. That's 15 seconds.
About, or is
It's
it
15. No, 15. I'm good. I'm
You
good.
sure,
in the hood.
Peg?
Yeah, 15 seconds.
Central taught you anything?
They
up there,
taught
North
me a
Carolina?
lot. Make sure you
Say
get enough
less.
lesson.
You got 25 seconds to call a play, because at 15 seconds, the play announcement goes out.
Mhm.
The microphone goes out. It don't matter if you're talking, it
Does it
goes
click?
out. Somebody is running that, and as soon as it goes in, they don't care. I don't even think that they can even hear. It's their responsibility to monitor at 15 seconds. That sound goes out.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter if the crowd is going crazy. It doesn't matter if y'all winning. It doesn't matter if y'all losing. It don't matter if the folks that ran on the field.
So somebody got to switch them. Boom.
Exactly.
But let me ask you this.
That's a person in the NFL, not on your team. Somebody that is responsible for clock management, a part of the NFL, person that's not on either side.
Yeah, neutral.
Neutral.
So let me ask you this. When you're in the helmet
Yep.
or somebody's talking to you, do you have a signal, or how? Like, what if you didn't hear them to tell them to like go back? Can you talk back to them, or is it a signal? or
you
what?
cannot. That's a great question. You cannot talk back. But this is the thing. And as Chase Daniels was kind of talking and kind of giving you an example, these are the things that kind of stood out that people must know goes on with that 25 seconds to call the play. All right. Reminders are mentioned. Reminders are down and distance. Reminders are tendencies. Hey, man, it's 3rd and 6 right here. It's a high pressure situation for the defense. Hey, look for corner cat right here. Hey, look for middle dog cross right here. Hey, look for nickel blitz. Like, those are all reminders. Here's the play. They call the play.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. Now, this is another thing too that you gotta factor in. Even with calling that play, you have to give yourself time enough, whether it's a shift or a motion, to properly be, or to give you the intel that you're looking for in that play.
Yeah.
Now, if you got to call it a runner, hey man, we got I right 43 lead, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I right 44 cross buck. Like, those plays are still in place. I think in the NFL, a lot of people just think that every single call is a sentence, and it's not. You just got call it and run it plays that happen every time. But if you got a shift in the motion, we got Z move the trips right, on off, matrix. Let's go 698, Z move smack. Like, those type of things are where you can really find yourself behind the 8 ball if you are breaking the huddle at 11 seconds and you got a shift and a motion. Why would you have a shift? It's because, okay, we need to put our tight end outside of the receiver to identify if it's man or
zone.
Man or zone.
Still think being a quarterback is easy? Mercy.
Yeah.
I
don't
mean,
know.
there's a lot going on.
Interesting.
Well, there's some of it that, there's certainly more preferential treatment off the field. But yeah, no, it's the hardest position. That's why you get paid the most.
Yep. And that's just some of the things that, I mean, you look at Cam Newton and, you see the goofy hats and some of the elaborate outfits and whatnot. There's a real football mind in there. And somebody who has, won an MVP, somebody who has been to the Super Bowl, someone who knows what it's like to be under center. Obviously, none of us have ever taken an NFL snap. And it's impossible to know until somebody tells you exactly what's going on in the ear of an NFL quarterback, except for an NFL quarterback. I thought it was fascinating. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did, because I thought it was just a real insight into some of the intricacies of the game.
Yeah, a lot more extra talking from the coaches there than I was kind of expecting. I thought it's just okay, like play call, make sure you got the play call, and just kind of that's in there. And then he's also got to repeat the play call then to the rest of the guys in the huddle, and then go from there. So I imagine that's got to be a lot when you got, also the reminders like, okay, hey, don't take a sack here. We're in field goal range, and like all this extra stuff. It's like, okay, but he's got to repeat that other thing you just said, and trying to get that out while also hearing the other stuff in your ear. I feel like that'd be very difficult.
I do too.
Definitely.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, coming up next, we will get you some fantasy football help. Joe Bartle from RotoWire, lead football contributor, will join us for his weekly segment here on D.N.D. Scooter from the 608 writes in on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. Watch your mouth, Doug. County Stadium was a cathedral. It was hallowed ground. The house that Hank built shall not be disparaged.
Oh.
I respect that. Listen, as I've said, I grew up at County Stadium. By the end, it was
in bad shape.
In bad shape. In its heyday, listen.
It had lots of character.
It was
the first.
It was the first stadium that was built with lights. Every other stadium that came before it added lights later. It was the first stadium that was built for lights, and it also helped with the westward expansion of Major League Baseball. The historical implications of Milwaukee County Stadium cannot be understated. This is the cathedral, if you will. Helped with so many other things that came later in baseball. And it is grossly underrated as a structure and how it was built and the modern amenities that it had for the time that it opened in the early 1950s. So nothing but respect for County Stadium. However, it was built in the 1950s, and by the time the 2000s rolled around,
bad shape.
All right. Same number, the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line, 877-794-1973. Joe Bartle from RotoWire, lead football contributor. Coming up next, we'll get you some fantasy football help right here on D&D on the Game.
That's the only backup plan you need. Yeah, getting back up. That's the only backup plan you need.
Fox on Tech.
Apple has new iPhones and other things for you. The Cupertino, California tech giant held its yearly product reveal and promised the world and its devoted customer base it wants to keep to ethos set by its late founder, Steve Jobs, that usable tech must look good, feel good, and work well.
For us, design goes beyond just how something looks or feels. Design is also how it works. This philosophy guides everything we do.
Apple CEO Tim Cook during the presentation, which debuted iPhone 17, along with a Pro and Pro Max version, as well as a super thin first-of-its-kind iPhone Air, no thicker than a few credit cards. Improved Apple Watches, including Ultra 3 with satellite connectivity, and AirPods Pro 3 with live translations, allowing wearers to speak with one another in differing languages. You can order your new Apple stuff today. With Fox on Tech, I'm Evan Brown, Fox News.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1968.
California's Creedence Clearwater Revival released their debut LP, which contains the number 11 single, Susie Q. And in August, American band Tommy James and the Shondells have a number 1 hit in the UK with Moni Moni. It goes to number 8 in the US. And the Doors have their first number 1 album and their second and last number 1 single with Hello, I Love You.
When she moves, my brain screams out this song.
In November of '68, Van Morrison releases his second solo album, Astral Weeks, and Joe Cocker has a UK number 1 with his cover of the Beatles with a little help from my friends.
Don't you know I'm gonna make you my friend? I promised myself I'd get back. Said I'm gonna try it when I'm through.
And in December, Motown holds the top spot with number 1 hits from Marvin Gaye, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, and the Supremes with Love Child. The Beatles released their first single on their own Apple label, Hey Jude, backed with Revolution. The over 7-minute song went to number 1 in the US and the UK.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1968 coming up.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Hall & Oates songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, Kiss on My List.
Because your kiss is on my list. Because your kiss is on my list. The best things in life.
Number 2, You Make My Dreams. Number 1, Man Eater.
Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boy, she'll chew you up. Oh, here she comes. She's a man eater.
Hear more from Hall & Oates and similar artists now. Search for Hall & Oates on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1968.
Born to be wild.
In January of 1968, Steppenwolf released their debut album, including the single Born to be Wild, which charts at number 2 in the U.S. Johnny Cash records 2 live shows at California's Folsom Prison, along with June Carter and Carl Perkins. Also in January, the Beatles are number 1 with Hello Goodbye. In London, they launched their own company, Applecore, with a store, a recording studio, and record label.
Don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello.
February of '68, Pink Floyd lead singer Syd Barrett is checked into a psychiatric hospital and the band replaces him with David Gilmour. The Beatles, Donovan, Mia Farrow, and others travel to India to study transcendental meditation with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And Bill Graham opens the Fillmore East concert venue in an abandoned New York City theater. April of 1968, the musical Hair opens on Broadway for the first of 1,750 performances. It would spawn several top 40 hits, including Aquarius, Good Morning Starshine, and Hair. Simon and Garfunkel released their album Bookends, which goes to number 1 in the US and the UK. The single Mrs. Robinson would go to number 1 in June, thanks to the movie The Graduate.
God bless you, please, Mrs. Robinson. Heaven holds a place for those who pray. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1968 coming up.
It's all a part of my fantasy. I love the music and I love to see the crowd that's you.
It's D.N.D. for this Thursday, October 16th, 2025. Coming up tonight, Thursday Night Football, the Steelers taking on the Bengals. Of course, the Packers just played the Bengals, and then next week they'll play the Steelers. So I guess good scouting, if nothing else. But you've also got to set your fantasy football lineups. I didn't set my fantasy football lineup last week, and I lost to Spencer. Actually got my ass kicked by Spencer.
Oh, Doug.
There was a couple of other things going on around here.
Yeah. What? Why, Doug? Did something happen?
Nothing.
No? Nothing at all?
Nothing
Okay.
at all. Joining us on the program right now from RotoWire, lead football contributor, fantasy football expert. We welcome in Joe Bartle back to the proceedings. Joe, appreciate the time. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. Looking forward to actually tonight's game. I think it should be a high-scoring one, or at least enough offense where fantasy managers should be pretty happy about today.
Yeah, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers for just a second. I mean, and listen, Joe Flacco on the other side, you've got two 40-year-old quarterbacks. They're calling it the Icy Hot Bowl game, or at least some are calling it the Icy Hot Bowl game. Rodgers has acquitted himself, I think, pretty nicely after a year that, if you look at his statistics, just his passing statistics, they were pretty favorable when you look at him versus Josh Allen. Not, the rushing statistics, but Josh Allen won MVP last year. Aaron Rodgers' numbers weren't that bad. I know a lot of it was padded at the end of the year, but Rodgers is showing that he still has something left in the tank, isn't he?
Yeah, I think the personality of Aaron Rodgers ended up kind of getting in the way of the production of Aaron Rodgers last year, and I think a lot of people are just ready to be done with him, even though his performance, I thought, for a Jets franchise that we've seen now this year is, consequentially awful, right? I mean, that was, in my mind, a reminder to a lot of folks that while we might not always be liking the shtick of Aaron Rodgers, I think he still is an above-average quarterback in the league, and one of the right circumstances could be just effective and fine. And I don't think the Steelers have a whole lot of offensive weapons yet. They keep kind of week in and week out just maintaining, and I think that'll probably be what happens again this weekend for the Bengals defense. And maybe it's a Jalen Warren game. We saw our guy Josh Jacobs go nuclear last week and kind of needed him to do so. I think the Steelers defense has similar limitations to the Packers, where they're reliant on pass rush getting home if they can't. A guy like Joe Flacco can probably kind of pick them apart with paper cuts. So I think Rodgers and Flacco are going to end up having a more so on the hot side than the icy side of a offensive battle here Thursday.
Joe, I want to get to our listeners' questions first, just to make sure we get those in our time with you. A couple of quick hitters here. Kyler Murray or Jordan Love, Matthew Golden, or if active, Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, the if active is definitely a tough part for this. I do think I'm playing Jordan Love, and I don't know if Kyler Murray will be active. Cardinals are in a bye next week. In my mind, it would make sense for the Cardinals to rest a lot of those guys. But if they don't win this week, their season might be done. So you might rush out a Marvin Harrison, where historically players in concussions, at least the last 2 or 3 years, do end up missing at least 1 week. I don't know what the Cardinals would do, but I don't think Kyler Murray in particular plays. So I'm playing Jordan Love every time, even if Murray's active. And I do think I'll play Marvin Harrison if he's available. I think it's going to be Matthew Golden by default.
Okay, Joe, you helped me out last week with my AJ Brown problem, which I very much appreciate, and I was able to get a win last week thanks to your help. But this week, I'm taking on Armin. Okay, so it's another big matchup in our station league here. But I've got Emeka Egbuka in my flex spot, and it looks like he's going to be out from Monday. So I've got a couple other options here, and I need you to kind of help me figure out who to go with for my flex spot. I got J.K. Dobbins, Jameson Williams, and Tony Pollard.
Yeah, of the three, Pollard's definitely last. I don't think he really needs to be in consideration until we see something from the Titans other than whatever this has been the past
firing their
month and a half.
coach.
So it really becomes, I mean, maybe there's a dead cat bounce for the Titans too. They're going against Mike Vrabel. I'm not playing Pollard until I see a couple weeks of being more consistent. So Dobbins, who was the model of consistency, or Williams, who's much more a high upside sort of play, I think there's going to be a lot of offense between the Buccaneers and Lions here Monday night. I think the Buccaneers outright win with all the secondary issues that Detroit's having. And it's crazy to say because they might not even have Mike Evans. They definitely won't have Emeka Egbuka, like you talked about. I don't think they have Chris Godwin. I don't think it matters. Baker Mayfield's been playing out of his mind. So I think that the passing attack is going to have to kind of go punch for punch, and maybe Jameson Williams is the better call. This is a full-point PPR league, right?
Half-point PPR.
Oh, yeah, that changes a little bit. I mean, the Giants' run defense has been pretty miserable this year, too. I think in a half-point PPR, I'm going to default to Dobbins and just play a little bit safe. I think he's going to give you, let's just say, in the range of 12 to 14 points. And I think Williams could do that Monday night, but I sure don't want to rely on that.
Quinshon Judkins has been languishing on my bench, but just based on the fact that I've got Breece Hall and Saquon Barkley at running back. But in the flex position, I've also got Javonte Williams. They've got the Cowboys they've got the Commanders this week, whereas Cleveland has Miami. All right. So for my flex, Judkins or Williams?
Yeah, he's not languishing on your bench anymore. You need to have Judkins in there just about every week moving forward. And we watched Kamane Vidal go crazy against the Dolphins defense. We've watched Rico Dowdle have his breakout game against the Dolphins defense. I'm benching Breece Hall of that group. Javonte Williams stays, Saquon Barkley stays. And even though you drafted Breece Hall high, Judkins has been by far the better running back. Full point PPR standard, doesn't matter. I don't know how many points are scored between the Dolphins and Browns, but I do know if the Browns score points, because Judkins absolutely went nuclear, I have to have him in my lineup over Breece Hall.
Joe, looking at the weather for that game this weekend too, I mean, there's a high expectation of rain and heavy wind. Sounds like a ground game to me. Another one from our listeners here on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. We had one wondering about the value of pass catchers in New England, and if you're going to strike, should you strike now to get a guy like Kayshon Boutte or Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, I think Diggs is probably the one. And again, I don't know if the Titans are going to put up much of a fight offensively, which to me would just be, let's just do the path of least resistance, have Ramondre Stevenson hopefully not fumble. You get Trey Van Henderson a bit more involved. Drake May will have his usual spectaculars, but I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of offensive movement from the Patriots side of things. The Titans defense actually is pretty good in terms of allowing fantasy points to quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers. It's because their offense is so bad, teams don't have to do anything to actually keep pace with Titans offense. And the firing of their head coach will change things for the better, but I don't think it's an immediate change. So I think I'd rather have Diggs over Boutte, but also I don't know if I want either one of them in my lineup, but it's a tough spot. And I don't know if I think the Patriots are trading for a receiver this week, but there's been a lot of smoke about them acquiring, or I guess reacquiring Jacoby Myers from the Raiders. There's been rumors about Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle being on the move, and I don't think Waddle gets moved in the division. But just overall, it's one of the reasons why I wasn't recommending Boutte as a waiver wire pickup this week, just because I thought a bit too inconsistent of a passing back unit, and they could be adding more people too.
Joe, I want to make sure we circle back to tonight's game as a whole because people are setting their lineups in advance. As you look at both sides, who are the guys you must start? Is Chase Brown in that group? I know some people are worried about him from the production we've seen so far.
Yeah, that's a great question because you see a lot of the high drafted guys like Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins. Every one of them has to be in your lineup. I don't mind in 2 quarterback leagues or super flex leagues, both Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco playing, but I prefer Rodgers over Flacco if that's at all a decision. And I do think Jalen Warren has to be in that conversation too after watching what Jacobs did last week against the Bengals defense. If the Steelers are going to move the ball, if they're going to score points, I think they will. It's because Metcalf and Jalen Warren have the games that you would want to have in your fantasy lineup, if not a little bit more. The one sort of flex play, if we want to call that, is Chase Brown, which ironically, if we're going back to Breece Hall, you drafted Chase Brown or Breece Hall really high. I think the mindset is just have him in your lineup and then figure everything else afterwards. But Chase Brown hasn't been playing well enough for that to be an automatic decision. I do think tonight, begrudgingly, I'll play Chase Brown in full point PPR leagues. I do think Flacco checks it down enough. We saw it last against the Packers where all it takes is 4 or 5 catches, 20 yards, and you're at an okay, whole hum sort of flex day for Chase Brown. And I think that is on the table tonight.
How can our listeners get some more fantasy football advice, and where can they find you on RotoWire?
Yeah, if you have any questions for me, always happy to answer them here. JB Fantasy Sports on Twitter, on X. I have the waiver wire article, which I'll be updating here later today. Hopefully breaking down more of these injury situations. For example, if the CeeDee Lamb, does he come back? What are we expecting from Mike Evans if he's playing? Things like that. There's a lot of receivers hurt and banged up right now and could be making their return. I have the big betting sheet also posted on my Twitter, JB Fantasy Sports, on RotoWire as well. I do the podcast, Waiver Wire podcast, every Monday, and 2 Sirius XM shows, Channel 87, Friday and Saturday too.
Glad you're not too busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Best time of year. Joe Bartle, we appreciate the time so much. Always enjoy having you on Thursdays right before the Thursday Night Football game.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right. Thank you. There he goes. Joe Bartle from RotoWire, lead football contributor. Yeah, he's got a couple of jobs.
Yeah, just
got a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, you got to say, I mean, this is the time of year to be busy. Tis the season. Yeah. That season's coming up too.
Yeah, no doubt, guys. Very busy time.
Bruisers Bites is coming up as well. We've got a busy final hour. We'll also hear Nick's conversation with Badgers cornerback Ricardo Hallman. Also, Jordan Love met the media outside the Packers locker room. We'll bring that to you coming up in our final hour, which is coming up straight ahead as well. You can find us, of course, on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line, 877-794-1973. If you've made the effort to try to find us on the iHeartRadio app, we appreciate it. Or on any of the streamers, you can see what our ugly faces look like, except for Nick's. We've already determined and discussed how pretty he is. So
I said
he declared it himself, though. By the way, just to be clear,
self-confidence is very important, guys.
That's true.
There
That's
we go.
true. And no one will ever accuse you of not having that. Or hour to go here on the game.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's happening, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. We'll start off in 1940. Alabama snaps Tennessee's defensive scoreless streak of 71 quarters, but still loses 21-12. Tennessee hadn't allowed a point since October 29, 1938, when it beat LSU 14-6. Jumping ahead, this week in 1977, Reggie Jackson hits 3 consecutive home runs, all on the first pitch to lead the New York Yankees to the World Series championship over the LA Dodgers in 6 games, solidifying him as Mr. October. This week in 1988, in one of the most dramatic moments in baseball history, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, an injured Kirk Gibson hits a dramatic 2-run home run to give the Dodgers a 5-4 win in the first game of the 85th World Series. This week in the year 2000, for the first time in NFL history, a game starts with back-to-back touchdown returns on kickoffs. Atlanta's Derek Vaughn returns the opening kickoff 96 yards for a touchdown, and St. Louis matches the Falcons immediately as Tony Horn takes the ball 3 yards deep in the end zone and runs down the sideline for a tying score. And this week in 2009, New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady had one of the best games of his career against the Titans, throwing 5 touchdown passes in the second quarter, an NFL record, in a 59-0 Patriots rout.
And that's just some of what happened this week in sports history. The Weekend Sports Time Capsule on iHeartRadio.
I'm Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has returned to practice after missing the start of the season due to a 6-game suspension. Head coach Andy Reid said Rice will play on Sunday against the Raiders, noting that Rice is in good shape, but that he's unsure how many snaps Rice will get. Elsewhere, Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh announced the team is opening the 21-day practice window for edge rusher Khalil Mack to return from injured reserve. Mack has been out with an elbow injury he suffered in week 2. Lions head coach Dan Campbell confirmed on local radio Wednesday that defensive tackle Aleem McNeil will return against the Buccaneers on Monday night. McNeil has been out since tearing his ACL last December. And the Bengals have placed tight end Mike Gesicki on injured reserve with a pectoral injury he suffered in last week's loss to the Packers. Gesicki will miss at least the next 4 games. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Basketball is back, football season is heating up, and Prize Picks is making this sports season even more fun. So don't miss any of the action this season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Download the Prize Picks app today, use the code ROAM, and get a $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code ROAM on Prize Picks to get a $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get the $50 bonus credit in lineups just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's shaking, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. We'll start off back in 1923. The New York Yankees win their first World Series, beating the New York Giants 4-2. To date, the Yankees have won the World Series 27 times. The next closest team is the St. Louis Cardinals with 11. This week in 1967, Major League Baseball's American League votes to allow the athletics team to move from Kansas City to Oakland and expand the league to 12 teams in 1971, with teams in Kansas City and Seattle. This week in 1981, LA's Rick Monday hits a ninth-inning home run to give the Dodgers a 2-1 victory over the Montreal Expos and the National League pennant. This week in 1983, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs combined for the fastest 5 goals in NHL history, 84 seconds. This week in 2014, DeMarco Murray becomes the first running back in NFL history to start a season with 7 straight 100-yard games and a 31-21 win over the New York Giants. Murray, with 128 yards and a touchdown, breaks Hall of Famer Jim Brown's 56-year-old record. And this week in 2015, Jalen Watts Jackson scoops up a flubbed punt attempt and lumbers 38 yards for a touchdown on the final play of the game, giving number 7 Michigan State a shocking 27-23 win over number 12 Michigan at the Big House.
And that's just some of what happened this week in sports history. The Weekend Sports Time Capsule on iHeartRadio.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Broadcasting live from the Iron Jock Studios. This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee. 97.3 The Game.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Welcome in, final hour of D.N.D. Doug, Nick, and Dave. Still to come in this hour, we'll hear Nick's conversation with Badgers cornerback Ricardo Hallman. Also, Jordan Love meeting the media outside the locker room in Green Bay yesterday. We'll bring you those comments. The NicolayLaw.com talk and text line always open to you, 877-794-1973. Unnamed in the 414 writes in, Dave is the most handsome man ever. Signed Dave's burner phone.
I don't know who you are, but thank you.
I don't know who
I
you
got
are.
no idea.
I got
no idea. Could be
It's
anybody.
very kind of your girlfriend to text him.
Pilot Mike writes in, that was a good piece from the Cam Newton clip, but that's not the first time they are hearing it, though, right? Well, it's the first time I heard it. That's why I brought it to you. Wouldn't you expect players getting drafted to that position to have a basic understanding of how plays are called? Yes, obviously. I mean, it shouldn't be their first rodeo. Agreed. But I guess my question is, how different is the NFL play calling compared to college? It's got to be somewhat similar, right? Signed Mike in Lacrosse.
It's more similar now. They went into the headsets last year into the helmets.
Yeah.
I mean, they've made that transition. There's no more giant school like cards with pictures and hand signals and stuff anymore.
Thanks, Michigan.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
thank
you. Honestly, I am thanking Michigan for that. I think it is beneficial to have your players at this level emulate the pro level as close as possible so that they can succeed at that next level.
Yeah. And I mean, we have the technology for the
Sure.
headsets and the helmets. So I don't know what took them so long to be able to do it. It's kind of like replay review in Major League Baseball. Why did it take so long for the umpires to actually get microphones so that they could tell us what the actual decision was?
Well, baseball hasn't always been on the cutting edge when it comes to, utilizing technology. Just ask
That's
Armando
true.
Galarraga.
Poor guy.
Yeah. That's going to happen, unfortunately. Well, not anymore, though.
That's baseball.
That's,
as they say.
That's baseball.
Let me write down that cliche again. That's
Baseball's a funny game.
Yeah.
Unnamed
It
in the
is.
414 writes in, on the county stadium note, I think the Brewers should do a better job of incorporating old artifacts of the past stadium to celebrate the old corrugated beauty. I know they use the old foul poles and home plate. They do? Is that true?
I'm not sure.
I didn't know that.
That's
the first I've heard of that, but maybe it is true. My kid's little league team played there. Hellfair Field.
Oh, Hellfair, yes.
That's not the same home plate, I don't think, because if you go to where home plate was, it's up like kind of behind the third base dugout a little bit.
Yeah.
At Hellfair Field.
Yeah, it's right around there, but
yeah, I'm part of the playing field is part of where the playing field was at County Stadium, but where Hank Aaron's 755th home run landed, that's in the parking lot. It's marked in the parking lot.
Yeah,
but it's in the parking lot. My kid's little league team played there this summer, and they had no idea the old stadium was there. We can't lose our link to past history. I agree with you there. There was also a recent Journal Sentinel article that Hellfair Field could be moved. That would be a terrible idea. I agree with that as well.
Yeah, I would concur. Moving it makes no sense. I mean, you already have it there.
Yeah.
Where are you going to move it? Like
why?
Why?
why would you move it? The setting is, I think, really perfect because you got all that green space that kind of, if you do like a sweeping panoramic picture, you got all that green space that leads up to the stadium structure.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that they do there. They have little league games there from time to time.
All the time.
I mean,
it's used all the time.
Yeah, so and I'm assuming the Brewers get some revenue out of that.
They do.
So, I mean, why would you get rid of that? It's a revenue generator because clearly the Brewers need more revenue if they're going to be able to compete with the teams like the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Health Fair is not going to make up for the $300 million discrepancy in local TV rights, but it's something. You got to find as many revenue streams as you can.
That's right. You know what also is never going to move ever?
Bruiser's Bites.
Time now for Bruiser's Bites.
Bruiser's Bites are brought to you by Wisconsin Concrete Coatings, wiconcretecoatings.com. And if you ever move and your garage, whether where you're at now or your new place, is not up to snuff, visit wiconcretecoatings.com to see all the great work they'll do for you, whether it is their polyurea coating on your garage floor, whether it's putting up garage cabinetry for you, whether it's addressing your basement. Maybe you got flood issues and the floor itself is eroding. They can help you out. They'll do great work. They have always done it, and it's just getting bigger and better as time goes on. So visit them, wiconcretecoatings.com. We opened this segment talking about Jordan Love and his availability with the media today. We'll circle back to some of the comments made yesterday at the podium from Matt LaFleur. First and foremost, he was asked about if the Packers need to match the urgency of the Arizona Cardinals, who have lost 4 in a row. This is what he had to say.
I think our guys understand that. I mean, we haven't won on the road either. So we got to do a good job of preparing and getting ready to play our best ball. I don't think we played a complete game up to date. We've had moments in each phase that have been really good, but to do it collectively for 4 quarters, I don't think we've done that. And we're going to need to do that against a really strong football team.
Packers are 3-1-1 on the year, which typically wouldn't be a cause for concern, but some people have felt second half's lack of urgency from the Packers to put teams away have been a major issue. Where do you guys stand on that subject?
Yeah, I mean, it's a problem because they have been able to, by and large, survive on the fact that their schedule hasn't been very strong yet, but it's going to change. And if you can't put teams away that you're supposed to beat handily, like Cincinnati, we saw it obviously with Cleveland, we saw it with Dallas. What are you going to be when December rolls around? What's it going to be like, on Thanksgiving Day when you've got your rematch against the Lions? If you've got a lead, you've got to be able to close those games out. And Packers just, if there's one bugaboo on this team, well, special teams has been part of that, part of not being able to close out. But the defense has to play a full 60 minutes. And, I know the other team is, those other kids are on scholarship too. I understand that. But if you're going to be an elite team, you've got to play an elite 60 minutes. Even if you're not going to win every game, you got to play an elite 60 minutes when you have the opportunity to put another team down, to put your opponent down and out for good.
Yeah, to quote Matt LaFleur, when his kicker has an injury to his leg, it's very concerning. When the Packers just aren't able to close things out there in the second half, I mean, it's definitely an issue. You want to see them put teams away, because for the first 2 weeks, we thought that this was just a truly like elite top tier football team. I mean, we were talking about them as the Super Bowl contender in the NFC with what they did the first 2 weeks of the season and how they dominated the Lions and they dominated the Commanders. And, if you're not able to put away and dominate the bad teams in the league, I mean, how good really can you be? So they have to be able to put it away, not let these teams linger around, because that's what they've done these last couple of weeks. I mean, it's almost like you're playing down to the level of your competition by letting them stick around.
Part of what we saw in week 6, outside of the victory, was the return of the Packers starting 5 offensive linemen. And this is what Jordan Love had to say about the value of that.
Anytime you get the starting 5 out there, you're in good hands. And obviously, J-Mo and Sean, they've been rotating and doing different things. So, I always got confidence in all these guys, no matter who's in there. But, it is nice to be able to settle down and just get some consistency in there.
Do you guys think it's fair to expect better execution again now in week 7 as the offensive line returns to form here?
Yeah, because
ahead
I think
of a matchup with Arizona.
The offensive line has been such a mess this year because of injuries. When you get the starting five out there, and listen, Luke Butkus and Adam Stenovich, they are just doing the best they can to try to patch holes. But when they brought in Aaron Banks, for example, to play left guard this year, you thought that was going to be a position that, they're getting a clear upgrade on. And I think that they have, just Banks hasn't been 100%. It looks like he's close to it. Obviously, he's going to play. It's important because, again, sports cliches. Love my sports cliches. Football games are won and lost in the trenches. And if you don't have that offensive line blocking for your quarterback as well as your feature back, Packers have an elite offense when everything is clicking, when they have the opportunity to create holes and create, clean pockets. Jordan Love going in, I haven't checked the PFF stats this week, I should say, but going into last week, he had the highest completion percentage and quarterback rating when having a clean pocket. Doesn't have had a clean pocket in most of the year, for most of the year so far. So yes, I do expect better output, more complete output. And I just think that Jordan Love is going to get better and better and better, not only as the offensive line gets better, but also as Christian Watson gets closer to game action as well.
Last year, I believe the Packers had the most snaps of any team in football of their starting 5 offensive linemen. I mean, they were able to stay healthy and be out there all season long, and they got great play from the offensive line, and that allowed Jordan Love to have a really strong season when he was healthy. And the Packers were able to get to the playoffs because of it. So not having that for these couple of weeks here, with Zach Tom out, Aaron Banks out, it's clearly caused a lot of problems on this offensive line. So getting these guys back obviously is going to be huge. We complained about the offensive line depth a lot throughout training camp. Billy Schmidt was obviously all over it because he is keeping a sharp eye on those offensive linemen as he was up there in training camp,
right?
Watching every single practice up there. So the offensive line depth has been an issue, but when your top 5 is out there, they're as good as anyone in the league. So getting those guys together and consistently getting snaps out there on the field, it's going to be very good things for the Packers.
Transitioning to the Brewers, game 3 tonight, this one in LA, as Milwaukee trails 2-0 in the series, the NLCS that is. Former Dodger, former Brewer as well, Curtis Granderson, part of the Fox TBS crew, had this to say on Foul Territory TV about the difference between the Dodgers and the Brewers.
I never felt like going from the Dodgers to the Brewers that one organization was lacking. Like, oh, we don't have this or we don't have that. But you hear these stories over and over, and it's amazing that with 30 clubs and the amount of money that's put into the payroll that some teams have and some teams do not. I don't see that so much with the Dodgers and the Brewers. Now, the Dodgers do have a lot of great shiny things, some of which you can say, hey, we need, some of it we don't necessarily need, but it's good to have. On the flip, when you go to the Brewers, I didn't feel like there were things that, oh man, we're missing these things. Why don't we have these things? So from that standpoint, I think they're both even, but I think you work with what you have over there. They've been able to develop from within. That's the Brewers, that is. They've been able to get buy-in from everybody to understand their roles and know that there's going to be some flexibility and moving pieces around. Whereas the Dodgers say, hey, we're going to roll out 3 MVPs to start this thing. And then we're going to get some Cy Youngs on the mound. And then we're going to throw some money into them. And not only that, they're also going to buy in. The communication with Dave Roberts to their team, I think, is all there. So a lot of similarities, but the big glaring one is the money and the superstars.
A lot that we kind of knew already, but it is interesting to hear the perspective that, like, he doesn't feel in his time in Milwaukee that the organization was missing anything that the Dodgers had outside the obvious, the financials.
Yeah, I mean, the proof is in the results.
Yeah. I mean, what else? Yeah, when you look at player development, I mean, the Brewers do a fantastic job of working with what they have, working within their means to develop a competitor, to develop a winner. And that's why they are in this NLCS, and that's why they're facing off against the Dodgers. But the Dodgers just do have a crap ton more resources that they can throw at payroll and throw at their team in order to make it happen. And yeah, it's like, oh, well, you want to build a winning lineup. The Brewers find a way to put it together. And the Dodgers just like, well, we'll get 3 MVPs and we'll put them together. Then we'll grab a couple of Cy Young winners and we'll make our rotation out of that. Like, no one else has the capability. No one else has a financial ability to do that, to just put all of those guys together on the same team. If you're lucky, maybe you can get one of each. Maybe. But even then, that doesn't happen very often, and a lot of times can't happen for very long. But the Dodgers can seemingly do this forever.
Well, you talk about player development. How about manager development? Future manager, that is. Austin Murphy, as we heard earlier, Pat Murphy's son, was asked some questions at the podium yesterday, and most specifically about his belief in this team moving forward.
What do they have to do to get out of this 2-0 deficit they're facing?
Just stick with it and keep battling through it. I think they can do it. And yeah, I believe they can do it.
What makes you believe?
Well, the guys respond back really good. Like, started the season 0-4. Those games were not good, but then they responded with the best record in baseball. So I believe they can do it.
Hey, I think we can all take a little something from a kid like that who's got no shortness of belief in his group. But what a moment. I mean, you've seen him a million times at the podium with his dad, just to put him on the mic like that and for him to respond. A lot of maturity for a 10-year-old.
A lot of maturity for a 10-year-old. And listen, someone on the talking text line, hey, he's a future manager. I don't know, maybe. Because if you grow up in a baseball clubhouse, and I've said this, some people like to say, oh, it's nepotism, this, that, the other thing. Sports is the ultimate meritocracy. If you earn your place, you will make your way. But the kids of professional athletes do have a leg up. Not necessarily just because of the bloodlines. That may have something to do with it. But when you're immersed at such a young age in the culture of baseball, like Ken Griffey Jr., infinitely better than Ken Griffey Sr., for example.
Yeah.
If he would have stayed healthy, Prince Fielder, infinitely better than his dad, Cecil Fielder. But, Prince had the injury issues.
Same number of homers.
Exact same number. Yeah, which is odd, but, is what it is. So when you grow up in a major league clubhouse and you grow up the son of a major league manager, you're going to pick up stuff and you're going to be just immersed in the culture of whatever business it is. I mean, Jack Buck and Joe Buck. Joe Buck was always nepotism. First of all, Joe Buck never worked for CBS. Joe Buck only worked for Fox, whereas his father worked for CBS. So forget that part of it. But Joe Buck was just around broadcasting his entire life. You're gonna pick some stuff up.
Yeah. Noah Eagle and Ian Eagle.
Absolutely. And you know who's a pretty damn good announcer right now? Noah Eagle. You know why? Not necessarily just because his father paved the way for him. It's because he lived it his entire life.
Yeah, he's getting the advice. He's hearing all the things. I mean, Pat Murphy, like a lot of times they're at the podium, when he's going into an answer about something else, he's telling the kids, just kind of like, and what happens when we do that? What happens when someone does this to us? Yeah, we get back up. We do this. We punch back. We do all this. So he's getting them set with the right mindset, the right mentality.
Of course.
And they're going to be around. They're talking to Christian Yelich. They're talking to Bryce Terang. They're talking to all these guys on the team about stuff like that. So, I mean, they could be very good players in their own right, too. I mean, Pat has another son, Kai, who's playing baseball. He's in the minor leagues.
Yeah, so you're going to pick certain things up. And, getting back to like broadcasting for just a second, just because that's what we do. Yeah. I mean, if you're Noah Eagle and you see your dad and the way that he creates his boards and what he looks for and how he calls a game, if that's a line of work that you want to go into, you've got the best teacher living in your house.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you don't have to pay him thousands of dollars for it.
Right, exactly. Something's going to rub off on it. So that's just, I love the answer from Austin. Incredible maturity for a 10-year-old. And, yeah, look for him to have some sort of future doing something, I believe, if he wants to, in baseball.
Well, a guy who's got a bright future, hopefully, in front of him in Milwaukee. Miles Turner, the latest major addition to the Bucks roster. They make that transaction in complement of the move to move off of Damian Lillard. Steven Watson, who we all know and love, UW-Madison alum, FanDuel Sports Network voice for a lot of both the Bucks and the Brewers. This is what he had with Miles Turner one-on-one. And this is how Turner said he has embraced the city.
You've embraced Milwaukee since you've come here.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've been sharing it on social media. You've been at Packers games. You've thrown out first pitches at Brewers games. What excites you most about being in this city?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, coming from, Indy, it's very easy to come here and think fans would feel a way about me, you know what I mean? Or just kind of, lump me in one category. But everybody's been just so welcoming, so accommodating. Like, no matter where I go, it's like, it's respect from afar. People are coming up, saying what's up, not really even in a bothersome way. It's more of like a welcoming way. And that's something I really thought was really cool. And I know how hard Wisconsin Knights go for, their sports teams. So to be a part of that, culture now is pretty dope as well. But overall, man, just, the buzz is in the air, man. I just feel excited. It's, it's dope when the Packers are playing well. Obviously the Brewers are playing well. And, it's cool to be a part of that culture now.
Dame never really embraced the city in a way that people responded well to. It just didn't necessarily mesh as well. Does embracing the city and being a part of the action make you like a player more, or is it truly just based off of what they do in action for a game?
Yeah, I think absolutely. It gives you a lot more rope with the fans when it comes to whether or not they're going to boo you if things don't go well. Look at Bobby Portis and how well he's embraced Milwaukee. Every player that it comes here and embraces the culture, embraces the other teams, you're thought of well, no matter what happens the rest of your career. And I don't have a bad thought about Damian Lillard. It just didn't work out. But to your point, Nick, you're right. He didn't necessarily embrace the culture of the city. I don't think it's mandatory for that to happen. But when you do that, the fans are going to think more positively about you. I think it's just human nature.
Yeah, and especially when you come into a team with Giannis, who is already very well embedded into the team culture. He's the star of the team. So it's hard for him to maybe find that kind of room because he spent so much time embedding himself out in Portland initially and then trying to come to a new city. It's like, I understand how it can be kind of difficult too, but maybe that's why. Just kind of like, okay, well, they already have an embedded star here, and it's a little bit more difficult for him. But hey, he's back where he was embedded before, so it's it all ends up working out for him, and that's why you have those guys that do get embedded into their city.
We'll end here with this, albeit maybe an over-exaggeration. Ryan Day was asked about the challenge of facing this year's Wisconsin Badgers.
They're hard. They're well coached. I think maybe the easy thing to do is to look at the record or look at maybe what happened last week and think that, otherwise, but that's not the case. And this is a team that, is that has good players and is playing very hard. So, we have to have a great week of practice, and you hear me say it all the time. We got to focus on us and our process, but knowing that when you turn on the film, last year they're playing LSU, this year they're playing Alabama. They're playing really good teams, and they've been right there with a bunch of them. So on the road, difficult environment, another big challenge for us. And I think it's important for us to recognize that this will be our third game on the road in 4 games. So this is a big, focus for us. It's 4-week window.
Sure.
We want to make sure we finish this thing strong, because I felt like going in, we have an idea of what type of team we had. And knowing that going to Camp Randall is a huge challenge. So we got to go in and play our best football. We want to continually build, and so we need all hands on board.
Hey, they're hey, and I'm not making any grand statements about the Badgers, but there is a level of like coach speak and like giving credit and respect to the other side. But when he says, they're a really good coach team, they got great players, this is a hostile environment. It's really hard to go in there. The Badgers have hung with the tough teams they've
right.
It just hasn't been the reality. And I think Ryan Day was kind of
it's a good thing
put on the spot.
It's a good thing that audio wasn't very clear, because he didn't say anything. It was all coach speak. It was gobbledygook. It was not disrespecting your opponent. He said what he had to say, but okay, Ryan.
Yeah, it's Wisconsin, because you don't want to overlook your opponent, because as soon as you're just like, it's Wisconsin, they suck, we're not going to worry about it. As soon as you say that or even have that mindset at all as a coach, then those are the games that you get upset. Those are the games that you lose. So it's like, we're staying focused. Yeah, this is going to be a tough team, going to be a tough fight. And you say all the right things. Plus, Fickell is a former Ohio State guy.
Right.
So there's a connection there.
That was going to be my point as well. You don't want to disrespect somebody who's always going to be in the Ohio State family. He's got 2 championship rings with Ohio State. So as a coach, assistant coach. So, what's he got to say? I think he was as polite as he could possibly be, but yeah. On the talk and text line, by the way, I know you've got to close out for a second here. Kyle and Racine, look at how good Bronny is, and Des Cameron is infinitely better than Mike Cameron. It doesn't always take. You just have a leg up. It
Tony
doesn't
Gwynn
always
Jr. and Tony Gwynn Sr.
Right. It doesn't always take that way. But I also would say that Bronny James probably would not be an NBA player if it weren't for LeBron James. I'll put that's what I.
Kellen Winslow Jr.
Ooh, that's an example now, ain't it?
Yeah.
Bad guy.
Bad
Not
guy.
a good player.
Right now, his uniform number is
compared to his dad.
Is whatever his inmate number is. But go ahead, close out the.
That's it. I guess brought to you by Wisconsin Concrete Coatings brings to a close our Bruisers Bites for today. I do, in that similar vein, Jonathan Gannon was asked about, when he first experienced what he's going through with his quarterback right now, like, hey, not knowing who your guy's going to be. He said, when our quarterback went to jail, in reference to Mike Vick in 2007.
Yeah, that was probably, that was a great answer, though, when I saw that. It's like, oh, okay. Have you ever had a worse quarterback situation going into a week? Yeah, when our quarterback was hauled off to jail.
Right. What? And it's funny because that was the end of the presser, and the media is, okay, thank you, coach.
They were also stunned. They're like, what?
Incredible work by Jonathan Gannon. But yeah, hey, sports never let you down. It's a soap opera that never quits.
Absolutely. All right. Coming up next, we'll hear your conversation with Ricardo Hallman, Nick.
Sticking with this Badgers train, one of their leaders, a guy that I think you can count on to try and echo the sentiment that's been in the locker room this week. So, yeah, interesting conversation there for sure.
And we'll also hear from Jordan Love before we close up shop. It is D.N.D, Doug, Nick, and Dave. Stay with us on the game.
Little Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. The drummer boy from Illinois.
Fox on Tech.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman in D.C. making the case that artificial intelligence is already making Americans more productive and that it's essential to democratize it by getting the technology in as many hands as possible. To do that, Altman joined Federal Reserve Vice Chair for Supervision Michelle Bowman to talk about the impact of AI on banks and businesses. Altman making the argument that it's not all doom and gloom, but rather that AI will create new jobs that we don't even understand yet.
There are cases where entire classes of jobs will go away. There are entirely new classes of jobs that will come. And largely, I think this will look somewhat like most of history in that the tools people have to use their jobs will let them do more.
OpenAI telling Fox Business they will be opening an office called The Workshop next year in D.C., their first office there. The goal is to expose lawmakers and government teams to artificial intelligence. With Fox on Tech, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Eagles songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, Life in the Fast Lane.
He was too tired to make it. She was too tired to fight about it. Life in the fast lane. Surely make you lose your mind. Life in the fast lane. Life in the fast lane. Everything all the time.
Number 2, Take It Easy.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels make you crazy. Come on, baby. Don't say maybe.
Number 1, Hotel California.
There were voices down the corridor. I thought I heard them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely place.
Hear more from the Eagles and similar artists now. Search for the Eagles on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
It's Fox Wheels.
Ford Motor Company's new affordable electric pickup truck, essentially an electric Maverick that consumers have been calling for, that the company says will cost $30,000. The EV truck, part of a new wave of announcements from Ford, that's also introducing a new universal platform that'll support the EV truck and a fleet of new spin-offs. It's part of Ford's $5 billion investments in its pursuit of selling more affordable and better EVs. Its new EV pickup will be assembled at the company's plant in Louisville, where it announced it's scrapping production of its gas-powered Ford Escape and Lincoln Corsair SUVs. Ford also changing how vehicles will be made, assembling future models in 3 parts: the front, the rear, and then the structural battery, using fewer parts, working stations, and faster assembly. Its new affordable EV pickup set for 2027 launch. That's Fox Wheels. I'm Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
In June of 77, Ram Jam have a top 20 U.S. hit single with a cover of Lead Belly's song Black Betty. Chicago area rock band Styx have a U.S. top 10 album Grand Illusion, including the top 10 single Come Sail Away.
Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me.
In July of 77, the Grateful Dead veered towards progressive rock, adding strings, horn, and a choir on their ninth studio album, Terrapin Station.
Terrapin in the whistling screaming,
In August of 77, the King dies. Elvis Presley's found dead in his home in Memphis, Tennessee at the age of 42. Detroit rock vocalist Iggy Pop releases his second solo album, Lust for Life. It's his second collaboration with David Bowie. New York's Billy Joel releases his fifth album, The Stranger. It goes to number 2 in the U.S., with the single Just the Way You Are rising to number 3.
I want you just the way you are.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up.
Listen to the wind blow, watch the sun rise.
I was just commenting how I don't really like most music from the 70s, and then you play Fleetwood Mac, and I have to eat my words. Thanks, Dave.
Hey, that's producing right there.
That is.
Yeah.
Because they just played some Billy Joel in the during the break in our ears, because I love Billy Joel.
Yeah.
I also love Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah. They're just good.
Rumors is
Can't
one
deny.
of the Rumors is one of the best albums ever made.
Yeah.
I mean, just one banger after another, after another, after another, and
Yeah.
most of it is written between the love triangle between Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. And I was trying to explain this to my niece, and she had it conflated because she thought Stevie Nicks was the guy and Lindsey Buckingham was the girl. And no,
close
it's-
You would think.
I never thought of it that way, but it tracks.
Yeah.
Because she didn't really know anything about Fleetwood Mac, and then Stevie Nicks kind of bouncing around the rest of the band a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
The
It
guitarist, the drummer. These things happen, but it makes for a great album. It made Rumors, like I said, one of the best albums ever made.
Yeah. That and Come On Over by Shania Twain. But, that's
Different genres.
Shania
Different
Any chance he gets.
Any
All right.
chance.
Coming up on Saturday, 2:30 kickoff at Camp Randall Stadium. It's the Badgers taking on the top-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Things obviously have not gone well for Wisconsin football this year. Nevertheless, we soldier on. They soldier on. Nick, you had a chance to catch up with veteran Badgers cornerback Ricardo Hallman.
Rico, you had an interception this past weekend for the first time in a while. I mean, it had been a while. You had 7 2 years ago. Last year, I think most people went away from you. But what was that moment like for you?
Oh, that was awesome. Kind of getting back into that rhythm. As a DB, we like to say they come in bunches. So hopefully we can get a little bit more. But that was awesome to get your hand on the ball, because after you go a year without getting it, it's just like, when our next opportunity going to come? So when you get it, it's awesome to be in that moment.
You're one of those names I think that people have grown accustomed to recognizing out there on the field. That number 2, pretty easy to spot. When you consider where this team is at this point in the year, I think unanimous. No matter who you ask, people are not going to be satisfied if you guys aren't 6-0.
Mhm.
But the reality is, you've had a couple of games in a row, most notably this last one at home, where it felt like you guys didn't necessarily live up to expectations. And how do you build from something like that, even if it is as lopsided as it looked?
I think it's just small improvements every day. You know, like you look at the outlook in our season. Nobody wants to be 2-4, and then obviously losing a rivalry game in the fashion that we did. It's easy to see why people would doubt. It's easy to see why people on this team can doubt. But you know, at the end of the day, we have to keep kind of reiterating throughout our team small improvements every single day, and just trying to be the best version of yourself, taking it one day at a time, one rep at a time. And I think that Coach Fick has done a really good job of kind of emphasizing that everything is one rep at a time, one day at a time, one game at a time. And everything else will take care of itself. But as long as we're putting our best foot forward and putting our best effort out there, it's a chance for anything to happen.
Coach Fickle talked about earlier in the season maybe toning down his level of intensity, trying to be a little bit more positive after games. And, you know, this is his third year here at the program, and you've been here the entire time. How has he maybe changed in that amount of time to get to this point?
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job, like he said, of being positive, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, how much stress and kind of he has on him in this moment right now. It's not easy to be positive. I couldn't say if I was a head coach, I'd be the most positive person in the world. So I think he's done a really good job, you know, and he has a hard job. So I think something he said, like he said, he wanted to be a lot more positive this year. He's done a really good job, I think, of bringing the morale of the team, even after tough losses, letting us know, like, hey, we got another opportunity. Let's just keep pushing forward and let's keep playing Badger football.
I think a lot of people from the outside have a kind of a opinion and expectation of Coach Fickle that he's a pretty intense, hard football coach. I spoke with JVR Suggs at Platteville earlier this year, and he said, as much as he is intense, he's much more of a motivator. Mm-hmm. Would you echo that sentiment?
Yeah, 100%. He knows how to get the blood flowing. He knows how to get guys in the right mind, in the right headspace, because, you know, he is super intense. But like I said, like JVR said, he is a very good motivator. I think he says the right things to guys, and he's a guy that you want to play for. So I applaud Coach Fick for everything he is, and the man that he is, and a coach that he is. I think he does a good job of bringing a bunch of guys together and being a leader of men.
As it happens throughout a college football season, you see teams that live and die by different things. And, you know, the passing game for Ohio State is going to kind of emulate some of those that you've seen so far this year. I mean, Maryland certainly tested you guys through the year. Michigan a couple weeks ago, you know, there were some major plays down the field. As you plan for a game like this against a team as talented Ohio State, do you feel maybe a little bit higher level of responsibility on your shoulders to be ready to go?
I mean, only if you make it bigger than what it is. At the end of the day, you know, I think Big Ten is the best conference in college football, or Big Ten, SEC, whatever, whoever you want to ask. So every game is a high-stakes game. Every game is a great opportunity, no matter who you play, no matter if it's number one team in the country or it is a Maryland team that came in here and did what they did. So no matter what it is, like I said, you got to be prepared. So it's no such thing as a bigger responsibility for me. Every game is a big responsibility for me, no matter what, no matter who I face, because I want to put my best on film.
Would you look at performances like Northwestern's last week, UCLA the week before, just coincidentally both against Penn State, and seem to suggest, yeah, that's Big Ten football. Any given weekend, one team can beat the other?
Yeah. You look at that, that's Big Ten football. No matter what. You look at it last year, Ohio State losing to Michigan, even though Michigan was 6-5 or whatever they was in that position. I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's any given Saturday in the Big Ten. Anything can happen. Any upset can happen. So I think you go into that game with the same mentality that, hey, this is a new game, this is a new week, this is a new opportunity, and you just got to play your best ball.
I asked DP a very similar question, but like, you guys have been through it together for a series of years now. Name a guy, Aaron Witt, Ben Barton, Preston in the secondary. I mean, you guys have been through it together. Is there value in that to kind of recognize this is one leader in that room, I'm a leader in this room, he's a leader in that room? Is there value in coming together like that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because you got so much shared beliefs and shared perspective. We've been through it all, like you said, the ups and downs of Coach Fickle's tenure and the firing of Coach Chris, like everything. We've been through a lot of adversity in our time here. And I just think when you have that shared mindset of guys that have been through the same thing, you can kind of preach to guys, the younger guys who aren't playing, the younger guys who are going to be future leaders of this program, what to do in these situations and how they can handle it and how they can still keep the morale of the team up and be a leader in these situations. So I think that's something that we're taking very heavily in our room and trying to make sure we're putting that positive outlook and perspective on guys and kind of permeate our culture throughout the team, even though it's a rough situation right now.
Last one for you. 6 games in the past, 6 games to go. How much do you guys feel like you have to prove with what's left this season?
I mean, a lot. At the end of the day, we want to, this is my last year here.
Right.
I only got six guaranteed opportunities left right now. So it's just like the go out on a high note is something I want to do. I came in on a high note. I want to go out on a high note. And I love this place. So I want to do right by this place. But at the end of the day, there's no pressure. I think just going to keep trying to reiterate that to the guys that there's no pressure. Let's just play our best ball, put our best foot forward, and, leave this place how we wanted to be in the future.
Great player, great leader. Ricardo Hallman, Badgers cornerback, great interview done by our Nick Bruzowitz there earlier this week in practice, and he mentioned DP Daryl Peterson. We'll hear from him coming up on tomorrow's show. Coming up next, we will close up shop with some thoughts from Packers quarterback Jordan Love as the Packers get set to take on the Arizona Cardinals on the road. A 3:25 kickoff with Wayne Larrivee and Larry McCarron on the Packers Radio Network. But QB1 coming up straight ahead. Stay with us. It's D.N.D, Doug, Nick, and Dave on the game.
It's Fox Wheels.
Hands-free driving. It's one of the hottest features consumers are looking for on their new cars. A survey by Auto Pacific shows 43% of auto buyers want autonomous features, including lane change assist, rear cross traffic alerts with emergency braking, and hands-free driving. The demand for those features up from less than a quarter of auto buyers just a year ago who wanted the same features. North Dakota joins 8 other states with speed limits of 80 miles per hour or higher. The state increasing speed limits from 75 to 80 on its many long, straight stretches of highway. Other states with 80-mile-per-hour roads include Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Utah, Wyoming, and Texas, though Texas also has a few stretches of roads where drivers can legally do 85. That's Fox Wheels. I'm Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1973.
Boston band Aerosmith released their debut album. At Ferris Borley, it would be re-released in '76 and yield a top 10 hit, Dream On.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, right on that.
Elvis Presley's live TV special, Aloha from Hawaii, is watched by more than 1 billion people worldwide and introduces the world to the rhinestone white jumpsuit. In February of '73, Alice Cooper has a #1 album with Billion Dollar Babies, along with 3 top 40 singles. Elton John also has a #1 album and his first #1 single with Crocodile Rock. Paul McCartney and Wings have a #1 single with My Love, and the Stooges signed to Columbia Records and released their final album, Raw Power, produced by David Bowie. In March, Pink Floyd releases the now legendary Dark Side of the Moon. It goes to #1 and becomes one of the best-selling albums of all time.
And everything under the sun is you, and the sun is a place for you.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1973. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1973.
Led Zeppelin released their 5th album, Houses of the Holy. It goes to #1 in the US and the UK and yields the top 20 hit Dire Maker.
But I still love you so, and I can't let you go. I love you. Ooh, baby, I love you.
The Doobie Brothers released their top 10 album, The Captain and Me, with the singles Long Train Runnin' and China Grove. And in June, Joe Walsh and Barnstorm have a top 10 album buoyed by the single Rocky Mountain Way. Also in June of '73, George Harrison scores a #1 single, Give Me Love, from the #1 album Living in the Material World. And Chicago's 6th album goes to #1 with 2 top 10 hits, Just You and Me and Feeling Stronger Every Day. In July, 600,000 Jam Watkins Glen for Summer Jam, the largest rock festival ever held in the U.S. It features the band, the Grateful Dead, and the Allman Brothers. And in August, those same Allman Brothers released their first album after the death of Dwayne Allman and had their only hit single with Ramblin' Man, which goes to number 2.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1973. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1978.
In January of 1978, the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack is released featuring the music of the Bee Gees. It hits number 1 in the U.S. for more than 6 months. An amazing 18 weeks at number 1 in the UK, it becomes the best-selling soundtrack album of all time. In February of 78, Pasadena, California hard rock band Van Halen released their self-titled debut album. It hits number 19 on the charts. Their cover of The Kinks' You Really Got Me cracks the top 40 at number 36. In March, the Patti Smith Group released their third album, Easter. It goes to number 20. Their single, Because the Night, goes to number 13. It was co-written with Bruce Springsteen. In May of 78, Detroit rock singer Bob Seger releases his 10th album, Stranger in Town. It goes to number 4 in the U.S., yielding 3 top 20 singles, including Still the Same, which also goes to number 4.
Are you still the same?
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1978. Coming up.
So we see that Dave takes requests on the talk and text line.
I do. Like any good DJ, you got to take some requests.
Unnamed in the 414. By the way, feel free to always sign your texts if we don't already have you in the system, just because I like to call you something other than unnamed in the whatever your area code is. Kind of shocked you guys haven't used Sexy and I Know It yet. So then he goes and plays Sexy and I Know It.
Yep.
So
Gotcha.
Final segment of the show here on D.N.D. Doug Russell, Nick Bruzewitz, and Dave Gasper. Jordan Love meeting the media outside the Packers locker room yesterday. I believe the first question was asked by Fox 6 sports director Tim Van Voren.
You haven't won on the road yet this year. Is that an important milestone to kind of get in the right column?
Definitely. It's something that we're going to have to, find a way to get past. Obviously, like you said, we haven't won yet, a L and a tie. So got to find a way to go out there and be at our best on the road and, get over that hump.
Coach LaFleur was saying the Cardinals have been in so many close games. I think every one of their games has been decided by a touchdown or less, and obviously the last few have been losses. I know you don't generally overlook teams. Is there any concern about, hey, their record's down, we wouldn't see them for who they could be?
No, definitely not. I think the Cardinals are a really good team. Watching their defense throughout the week, I think they do a lot of good things. Obviously, we played them last year, and I think that defense has got better since last year. So, I don't think, like you said, I don't think we ever overlook any teams. But like you said, they've been in some close games. Haven't came out with the outcomes they wanted, but I still think they're a really good team. And definitely we're focused on us this week and going out there and trying to get a win on the road.
Jordan, you mentioned after the game Sunday, they kind of came into the season wanting to use your legs more. I'm curious, once you make that decision, like I want to add this to my game more, what's next? Like, how do you decide when is the right time to use your legs to make plays? When is the right time not to?
Yeah, I think it's all just a feel thing, in the pocket, getting to the top of your drop and, really just feeling where the holes are at in the lanes to kind of get out. But it's also just understanding the concepts, understanding when you get to the top of your drop, do I feel like this is gloved and, I might have a lane to, get out, or do I feel like I have the throw? So I'm always trying to find ways to get the ball in my hand and make those throws. But sometimes the defense, has a good coverage on it. It's just finding ways to escape through the pocket. But I think it's just understanding where the holes are at in some of these rushes and, how teams rush each week. And, if teams have beat them on getting out in some scramble drills and quarterbacks using their legs and kind of what's their plan to stop that.
Is that film work, or is that something you got to make in the moment decision when you're dropping back?
It is in the moment. It's all definitely in the moment, dropping back and just feeling those things. But, I think throughout the week there is some, when you look at film, you just kind of feel how do they rush? Are they high rushers? Do they kind of spin out of some of these moves? How's the interior guys? Do they get out? Are they playing over top of the quarterback and giving you lanes to escape? So it's all about just watching that throughout the week, and then once, like you said, just getting in the game and feeling it out.
Is it always easier to get scramble yards against man coverage, or can you get scramble yards against zones as well, or is it that much harder? You
can definitely get scramble yards in zones, but I do think it is easier versus man. When everybody's guarding the receiver, looking at their man, and not having eyes on you. It just depends on the coverage, whether they got hole players and guys with vision on the quarterback, spies, things like that. But zone, I feel like everybody's usually watching the quarterback with eyes and vision on the quarterback, so it does make it harder sometimes. But I think man is the the kind of the opportune times.
Jordan, how nice was it for the most part, other than the one series, to have your offensive line sort of the same every time?
No, it was great. I think that's something that we've been bouncing around with. Obviously injuries have been a part of that, and then just kind of moving guys around, giving guys the best fit. So, I think anytime you get the starting five out there, you're in good hands. And obviously, J-Mo and Sean, they've been rotating in, doing different things. So, I always got confidence in all these guys, no matter who's in there. But, it is nice to be able to settle down and just get some consistency in there.
Golden has made a couple big plays in crunch time the last couple games now. Just what have you seen from him just in terms of his growth since the start of the season up until now?
Yeah, I think he's been making some big time plays. I think last game, two of those catches were real crucial, both on third down. So, I think he's been a guy that has shown his consistency throughout practice with his ability to catch. And I think it's just about trying to get him the ball more. And I think he's made the most of every opportunity that the ball's come his way. So just continue to keep trying to find him. But, he definitely made two really big plays in that game. So, shout out to him.
Jordan, looking at the last game, even when the Bengals scored, the offense didn't panic, was able to, put together another drive, especially late in game. How crucial, just beneficial is it for the offense just to, you can say, have that type of success to see, if you need to do it late in the game, you can?
No, it's very crucial. Those are the moments when you got to be at your best. It's a tight game getting in the fourth quarter. You got to find ways to go execute and stay on the field and put up points. Whatever the situation is, if you need a touchdown, if you need a field goal, if it's a 4-minute drive where you just got to stay on the field, so I think those have been two. I think with this last week, with the Dallas week, I think it's been huge for our offense to be able to go out there and answer the call. So I think it's something that'll just keep building confidence, and we'll keep, finding the right plays for these situations and things like that. But, I think that's huge. That's what you plan for as offense. We do all the work in different 2-minute situations throughout OTAs and training camp to be ready for those moments. And, it's nice that we've been able to succeed.
Is there a certain mentality it takes to be successful in those situations, just collectively as a unit, the mentality it takes in those crunch time kind of drives?
Yeah, you just got to be confident. And, that's when, I feel like the pressure is, at the highest point. You got to go out there and make a play. So I think just not let the moment get too big for anybody. Just go out there, treat it like another drive, and just go out there and make plays. But that's definitely, Matt talked about before the game, is when you need your best players to be at their best. I think guys have done that.
Packers quarterback Jordan Love meeting the media outside the Packers locker room yesterday. Of course, Green Bay is at Arizona on Sunday afternoon. 3:25 kickoff on the Packers radio network with Wayne Larrivee and Larry McCarron. John Kuhn on the sidelines. And now, if you're listening in Milwaukee, programming though, it will still be on over-the-air radio on the old 97.3 FM. It is not 97.3 The Game anymore, except digitally on the app and some of the digital assets that we have. But 97.3 FM, it will be on that station as we transition it over to 95.7 Big FM. So it will be on 2 FM frequencies that are not that far away from each other on the dial. Moving forward, the games will be on the big 95.7. So just keep that in mind as Milwaukee listeners transition. But other than that, there will be no changes to the broadcast. I'll still be doing Packers Game Day live from Potawatomi Sportsbook. And then coming up at 1 o'clock, it will be Packers Preview. Dennis Krause's still there. Drew Olson's still going to be there. Wes Hodkiewicz, James Jones. That crew hasn't changed. Obviously, the broadcast itself hasn't changed with Wayne and Larry. Wayne and Larry, by the way, will be joining us Wednesdays throughout the rest of the football season here on D.N.D. And then after the game, it'll be Billy and Drew on Packers OT. So that has all remained and will remain for a couple of weeks on 97.3.
So, yeah.
All good news.
Yeah, good news, and we're looking forward to it, and looking forward to another Packers win on Sunday, because that is something that we really would like to see, and then get these guys back to Lambeau, because you had the home game this past week, and then it's another 2 on the road before they come back home.
It was 51 days. So there's a 51-day stretch where there was one home game, and that was the one last week. So they went for more than a month since their last home game in week 2 against Washington. Remember, that was a Thursday night game. Then they went on the road for a couple of weeks at Cleveland and then at Dallas. Then the bye week. Then the one game on Sunday that was back home. That was that one day in that 51-day stretch. And as you mentioned, Dave, now 2 weeks on the road before they come back to Lambeau Field. So, yeah, kind of a bonkers schedule a little bit this year. Nick, you've got a big game coming up tonight with your Steelers.
Yes. I thought you were saying this Saturday with the Badgers. I said, gosh, I hope so. But tonight is the night Steelers can really stake claim to the AFC North pretty early this season, knowing where the other teams are at. You get a win tonight, you're up by 3 games over the next closest team. Got to feel good about that.
And the Brewers start in 3 hours. So coming up next on the Game Radio Network, Tim Allen will join us for a preview show for Game 3. So we're looking forward to that as well. So can't wait for it. We've got one more day tomorrow. Daryl Peterson will join us. Matt LePay will join us. And we'll have some other surprises for you as well, including Dave's Party Hour. Just all you have to do is, he's our musical maestro. And if you have any bumper music requests, he will probably fulfill them, I'm guessing. Until tomorrow, we will see you then on D.N.D. on the Game.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Week.